lives all going at one time. This is definitely gonna be a blooper moment because the there's so much going on right now. I feel like I'm a big brother or something. Okay. Okay,
Okay.
somebody else. So there are going to be some people coming in as we are progressing through. But I want to go ahead and get started. It is 7:08. Because this is live stream and recorded, so this will be available at a later time. I will edit out this part of it. Okay, you're not gonna do this. That will be edited out. But we are live, and I am just so excited for everyone to come together. All of these beautiful melanated women coming together to have these real talks conversations. This is the first of many real talks that I will be hosting. This particular segment is featuring Roses of Jericho, the founder of Roses of Jericho, Kennedy, but she calls herself Honey. Look, she is Honey, okay, because she's sweet and lovely. And you know what they say about honey? Honey is a cure for a lot of things. So this is Honey, and I'm gonna go ahead and let her tell you guys a little bit about her organization, and then I will just do a quick roundtable, giving everyone an opportunity to just introduce themselves. You have as much time as you need. We have this is a decent, long conversation, so you guys can use the time that you need to introduce yourselves, and then we'll get into the actual conversation. And I'm gonna be, excuse me if you see me looking down because I'm texting people who are gonna be coming in. So I just want to make sure that you guys know that I'm just not paying attention. Okay.
Alrighty. Well, hello everyone. My name is Kennedy. My nickname is Honey. I am the founder, well, the co-founder, because I also have another business partner of Roses of Jericho. We are a nonprofit organization that is centered around the rehabilitation and advancement of Black men. As of right now, our kind of focus for the organization is mental health. That's why we wanted to join this conversation to kind of put our 2 cents in as a lot of people know and a lot of people don't know, the men in our world, especially our Black men, suffer the most from mental health issues, stemming from trauma, stemming from their background, how they were raised, and then stemming from, I guess, also hurt and different things. So I just wanted to bring that into the conversation and just see what everyone else had to say about it. We are a new organization. We have a Instagram and a Facebook at Roses of Jericho. And you can just follow us and just see everything that we have going on. But we're just happy to be a part of the conversation. And hello to everyone. And let's chat.
And thank you so much, Kennedy, for Honey, for joining in on this conversation. It is definitely an honor to have you here and to have this type of conversation. This is a much needed conversation, and really, this is why we're having it. The ultimate goal for these types of conversations is to get us past that uncomfortable place, because as long as we keep mental health issues behind closed doors, then that's where we'll stay. We'll stay stuck. We're not going to be able to elevate beyond the trauma if we stay stuck behind these conversations. You know, there are a lot of different platforms where people stream and people have these conversations, but I never see this on a global scale, because even in those instances, we're behind closed doors because we're still having these conversations in a place that's still hidden behind society. So we want to put these types of conversations up front in people's faces so that people understand that it's not just them who's going through. We're all experiencing a human experience, and life is not personal. Things that happen to us are not personal because, you know, I can sit right next to a millionaire who's going to tell me they had the same experiences that I had in life. I can sit next to a person who may be struggling, but I could have the same exact human experience that can connect us instead of disjoint us. So Like I said, it is very important for us to continue to have these conversations. So thank you so much for your involvement in ensuring that we do rehabilitate men. Rehabilitate.
Exactly. Yes, definitely,
Um,
definitely.
and anyway, we'll get into that further because you know I can keep going and going. So we gonna move on to the next.
Right.
This is in the order that it's on my screen. So the next person is Latisha.
Hello, my name is Latisha Mcwilliams-Mosley, and I guess I need to make a full disclosure. We are related. uh, and I remember her when she was a little bitty baby. And I'm so proud of her and all of her accomplishments and successes. And she brought me in because I have been a therapist for almost 20 years. And I currently serve here in the city of Atlanta in private practice. I've had a multitude of experiences in the mental health field. I've managed services before. I worked in the military, I worked in prisons and jails and school systems. So I've done a little bit of everything. Okay. So I'm just happy to be here.
And we're definitely very happy to see you here. And I think okay, it's coming through. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tish, for coming. You know, I know that you're a busy woman. You're going through some stressful but exciting life changes right now. And so, you know, to take away time to do this is definitely, I'm very grateful for that.
I may have to leave a little early. I have to go see my dad off.
Okay.
Going back to.
Well, tell you that, hey. Yes. So I definitely understand that. So again, thank you so much for taking the time and joining. So it looks like Gang finally is working on I can't wait until the next time when this is exactly in the order that it should be in, that I can look back at this and say, look where I came from. And all right, we're working. All right. So thank you so much. The next person we have is Alicia Johnson.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say hi. I am Kennedy's grandmother.
Oh, beautiful. Yes. Okay.
Yes, I'm Kennedy's grandmother. Just a little bit about me. I am also a licensed therapist, but I've only been a licensed therapist since the last 5 years. Well, actually, it's 6 years. My background is such where mental illness, I had to live with mental illness. My mother was bipolar, and she wasn't diagnosed with the disease until I was grown and married. And there was a lot of trauma in our life, in my life. I'm the oldest of 5. And so I ended up dropping out of high school when I was 17 and having my first child. And then I had my second child, which is Kennedy's mom, and as a single parent. And I went through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of broken relationships, just a lot of failures in my life. And I ended up at the age of 23, you know, giving my life over to God. And once doing that, I met my husband. And I've been married for 38 years. I have 2 other children. So I have 4 children. I have 13 grandchildren, which Kennedy is my second grandchild. And then I have 3 great grandchildren. And I ended up having a 17-year career with IBM as a software engineer, and just overcoming a lot of obstacles. And then with my youngest daughter graduated from college, I had the desire to go back to go to college, and didn't know what I wanted to take, but I just felt impressed that I wanted to give back to people and to women who had gone through some of the changes and the trauma that I had gone through. So that is my why. I went back to college and got a bachelor's degree in psychology and then a master's degree in addiction counseling. I've been counseling people for over 30 something years. That's just the way, you know, and I know Latisha can attest to this. It's just at some point, people just started coming to her with all of their issues. And then she decided, I need to make this a profession. So that's me. And I'm excited, you know, just to support Kennedy and the rest of you ladies. That's my life goal, is to support women in everything they're doing. So God bless you guys. And I'm glad I'm here.
Thank you so much. I mean, you know, you remind me so much of myself, honestly. Crazy enough, I'm a single mother too. And I'm also a software engineer. Well, actually going to school to be a software engineer. I'll be graduating this year. My only daughter. So many things. Okay. Anyway, this is not my time right now. I'm going to let it go. But I thank you so much for being here. You know, I just want to say, like, coming together with all of us women, and we can just see the generations of, you know, growth, the generations of growth, because looking at you is inspiration to me to see, like, you can get there. Like, I always tell myself, don't stop. That's it. Like, just don't stop. So, you know, it's very humbling, you know, to be here with my cousin, because I remember when my cousin was just going to school. Like, I remember when she was just, just fighting through school, and it was like she was in a zone, and it was just, she was there, and then she made it out on the other end, and I'm there now. And sometimes you just don't know how you're going to make it to the next day. Just know, just already knowing what you have to do tomorrow. This is motivation, even for me. You know, with this new move, this is new too. You know, we just started in February of this month. This is our kickoff. This is our kickoff. So, you know, this is definitely already. I can see that there's going to be a lot of growth that will come from here. So I have LaShondra, and then Rhea, you gonna go.
Hello? Let me turn my camera. I'm trying.
Okay.
Okay. I think I pressed it. Oh, okay. Hello, y'all. My name is LaShondra. I'm Chiama's friend. We're like sisters. We grew up together. We used to play the cello together in orchestra. I come into the panel with personal. Yeah, we used to play the cello, and she was so good. She always had a drive and always practiced. I wasn't like that. I was the opposite of her. And she was always in first chair. I was always in second. But
we was always next to each other though, girl.
We was always next to each other, right? So that's from middle school. We've been friends since middle school. And now I'm 33, and I think Chiama's like 30, right?
31.
31. Okay. Okay. I'm actually coming to this panel based on like experience. I'm a person that dealt with mental health all my life. I dealt with different obstacles, and even just trying to get help. Actually, I just got help last year, and it was like a dramatic situation, but I did get the help that I need. And I don't think people even heard me until it was that dramatic. That's the thing. And so I was ready to leave this world. So so that's basically a little bit about my I'm a little nervous, sorry.
Okay.
I'm always nervous. But and I'm diagnosed with panic disorder. So if I'm just fidgeting, that's why I turn the camera off, because I can be a little distracting sometimes because I fidget a lot. But if I seem a little off, I'm sorry.
this is a step in itself, honestly and truthfully, for someone who is suffering from panic disorder. I used to suffer from anxiety disorder. It was never diagnosed, but you don't need a diagnosis for everything all the time. Just as Ms. Johnson said, some people don't get diagnosed, but I'll talk about how I manage those things and how I continuously work on managing anxiety as we continue along in the conversation. Yes, Ria, how are you? Thank you so much, Chandra, my greatest friend. I love you. Thank you so much for being here and putting your and standing up and not being afraid to have.
Well, I'm very afraid, but but I pushed through anyway.
Standing up to fear. Yeah. So I appreciate you for sure. And Ria. Oh, we can't hear you. You're probably on mute. No, you're not on mute. But I know you can hear us because you're smiling.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
can. Okay. I'm sorry about that, y'all. But just like what Chandra was saying, I completely understand her with, just anxiety. Like I have been diagnosed with anxiety too myself. Just a little background of me. My background is psychology too. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. And just what got me into psychology was just, from my environment, from, my family and just, myself too, just always wondering like why we do things, why are we certain way, why are certain people in a certain environment or carry themselves a certain way than us, and just wanted to know like just, kind of like what the background to that is. So that's what kind of got me into psychology too, and studying mental health, and just really wanted to dive into mental health.
Okay. And thank you so much for coming as well. I had such a spiritual connection to you when I met you the first time, and me, you, Kennedy, we sat around and we probably could have stayed there all day if they
yes.
Because we probably could have stayed there the whole time, because when you find other people who share the same passion as yours, and you're like, this is, for me, I'm a firm believer in that everything you need, you'll find on your journey to where you're supposed to go. I truly, honestly believe that, because I've met so many people when I focus on the path in front of me instead of focusing on the distractions or allowing distractions to take me away from my purpose. So I guess I will use this as a segue to do just a brief introduction, as brief as I can, to who I am. So my name is Chioma Ezebike. I am a Nigerian American. I have a dual citizenship. And so my entire life, I struggled between two different cultures. We have the American culture. My mom's American, but my dad's Nigerian. But my mom was one of those individuals who kind of submitted to the idea or the cultural ideas that are associated with, Nigerian culture. And so we embrace those. I remember the worst day of school. I would never forget it. And my auntie Tish will tell you, my mama thinks that she African, like straight there, like that she came straight from Nigeria. So because she was married to my dad, and she's also remarried to a Ghanaian. But I remember my worst day of school. My worst day of school was when my mom made me wear my traditional clothing to school. That was I will never forget. I was in elementary school. I was in the 5th grade. It was picture day. My mom made me wear my traditional African clothes to school. And she kept on telling me, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And it was the worst day because I already knew how it will be received from the other individuals who were in school. And just as I imagined, it went exactly the way I thought it would. I got talked about. People were talking about me, and I was a bully. So, you know, then the tables being turned, you know, I'm gonna be honest, I was a bully in elementary school. And the tables got turned and people were talking about me, and the only people who were receptive to what I had on were the teachers, and primarily the non-African American teachers were very receptive to the clothing that I had on. They really loved it. But me, it was still to this day, I can still feel that emotion. I mean, granted, you know, I know that I shouldn't take it that way, but I still can. If I go back to that place, I can feel that emotion that I felt at that time. So, you know, I guess early on, I've always struggled with that. I've always struggled with, you know, in our culture, standards are so high all the time. You know, they hold up. You know, we're held to standards that almost seem unattainable, and it sometimes feels that we're living life for other people, that, you know, our lives are a second chance for other people to live the life that they wanted to live. And that's what I find a lot in our culture. But I will say that our culture is changing. You know, the ability to have an individual thought process or individual approach to life is more welcome now. So I am grateful for the change that time has allowed. This and why we started Rehab Us. So I used to have a, I guess you would call it a series on an app, and you know, we would have these live conversations that would be hours and hours and hours and hours, and people would, and maybe all through my life, people would come to me and they would, you know, confide in me. And just as you were saying, Miss Alicia and Tish, people come to me as a source of peace. And before I grew to my level of spirituality, it was a burden to me. I have to be honest. It was very much a burden until I grew spiritually, and realized that it was only a burden because I was trying to carry it. And I had to realize that our creator, I call him Yahweh. You know, I'm talking about God, but I call him by his name, Yahweh. You know, when I grew in my spirituality, I realized that it's not for me to carry. Nothing is for me to carry. It's for me to learn. Like, what am I going to learn from these situations? Everything that I've gone through in life, it's not for me to carry. It's for me to learn. And as long as I'm carrying it, it's holding me back. That's just the reality of the situation. And so I decided that I would redirect this energy that I have, and you know, I guess being that person that people come to and create something that we all have. That's why this is called We Have Us, because it's only through us that we're going to be able to break the systematic change. And the reason why we decided to have this conversation in particular about mental health is because, again, through those live sessions, so many people, I mean, I just gained such a sense of peace in knowing that life could have been worse for me. You know, because I've spoken to so many people who I just didn't know. I mean, I did not know that so many people were suffering with mental health, even people you wouldn't even imagine, even psychiatrists, psychologists, you know, people who have these degrees. Even people who have degrees in psychology and who have studied this, they find themselves too in a constant battle with mental health, and having conversations with people who I look up to, and they can give me the best advice, but they're also going through the same things. It was just like, there's something that we have to do. We are so stuck behind what society has painted as what is normal. But we have but then it made me question, okay, well, we always talk about this society as if society is something outward to us, but it isn't. It's something that we created. Like, we created society. See, society is not non-existent without us, you know? So then it made me think, okay, so then what are we doing to create this society where we have to step on one another to make it? Where we have to point out people's flaws in order to feel self-sufficient. To where are we that we have to tear people down and to feed off of people's pain just because we're in pain too, instead of just realizing, again, like I always say, we're all experiencing a human experience. We're all in this like together without without anything else. We're all in this together. So this is why I really wanted to have this conversation. I will say first and foremost that this is not a religious organization, but I will say this, that I am a very spiritual person, that this organization was created by direction of the Most High himself. I myself am not smart enough to do anything like this. I myself do not have the power to do anything like this. So this is through his hand that all of this is written. And I will also say this, that I don't want people to feel that this is a type of organization that will push its beliefs on anyone, because I will tell you, the Father that I serve, he is not a forceful Father, but he will never force himself on you. He has a still, small voice. His voice is still and it is small. So I will tell you that this organization is not here to push our religious beliefs, but I will tell you the hand who created it will definitely be the guide for where it goes from here. So all are welcome into these conversations. It's not limited to anyone in particular or any group in particular. I actually believe that all of this divisiveness is the reason why we can't move forward either, but I'll definitely talk about that. We'll get into that as well. So so we can just go ahead and pop this conversation off. The topic is oppression. Actually, the topic is mental health and its impact on one's ability to rise above oppression. And so I definitely want to hear each and every one of your perspectives on, your perspectives on that. Do you believe that oppression is related to mental health? How do you feel about that? Like, what are your viewpoints, again, professionally, your professional viewpoints, as well as your individual viewpoints? And anyone's welcome to go.
I guess I'll go.
Okay.
I think oppression is definitely related to a lot of mental health issues in our community. Mm-hmm. You can link oppression back to socioeconomic issues, and that trickles down to lack of care, okay? And so you see all of the disparities, especially within our communities, and then you want to tie in the oppression aspect along with the cultural aspect in terms of, you see a lot of the cultural influences today, even when we're dealing with COVID, with people, lack of understanding about vaccines and being appropriate when they, are asked to wear masks and follow policy. And they link all of these cultural ideals, like you get the vaccine, you turn into a zombie or something like that. So you have the oppression, and then you have the cultural influences, socioeconomic issues that all negatively impact how we address mental health in our communities, okay? When I went into private practice in 2017, I didn't know how my practice was going to do, okay? But my practice just flew, okay, because it was great demand, especially within our communities where people were just so excited to see a therapist that looked like them, okay? Didn't know that they had Black therapists. They didn't know that they could go seek care outside of the barber shop, the beauty shop, and the nail shop, okay? So we have to look at all of these things, and I don't want to get too far off the topic, but oppression in the sense of we are oppressed financially, we are oppressed spiritually, we are oppressed in so many other ways in terms of access to care and opportunities within our community, that we don't have the same access to things as other cultures have within their communities. Okay, so I definitely think that's one of the main issues.
Right. Right. So I'm gonna speak.
Okay.
Because I currently dealt with it. For one thing, I'm gonna say is I always been this nervous child. Always been this nervous child. Always had this high anxiety. Always had this panic disorder that I have. It's me from when I was little. My mom never got me help. Never got me help. When I tried one other time to get help, but everybody kept telling, why are you going to the crazy doctor? That's the first thing they want to know. Why are you going to the crazy doctor? You're not strong enough. You know, I have problems too. You see, I'm getting through it. That's the first thing they say to us. You know, they say so then you feel ashamed into reaching out, or ashamed into, and then you feel like self-pity, like, why I'm not strong enough? Why am I here? Why can't I cope? Right. So it's like an endless cycle. And then until it just boils over, especially when you need the care. Because I feel like anxiety is one of those things, especially if it's bad enough, it heightens and heightens and heightens. It just, first I was scared of this, then I was scared of that. Now I'm scared of everything, or now I'm shaking up everything. As far as even just getting help, if you don't have insurance, where you going? I really just realized that you can go to Grady. That's because I had to stay at Grady and they told me, but I realized you can go to Grady. None of this information was given to me. I didn't know that. I didn't know you can get help. I didn't know it was. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Sandra. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh yeah, I didn't know a lot of these things. And then you're ashamed to even tell anybody. Because my mom went through a lot of stuff too, and guess what? She's just fine. Well, I guess she's just fine, but who knows what she's hiding. But and why is she able to cope and I'm not? And then my mom actually took me to Grady because I didn't have insurance and I wasn't eating for 3 days and I was, crying all the time and everything. That's when she took me to Grady. She did the research, she took me. So my mom did eventually help me and save my life. But I didn't know all these resources was out here because I didn't have any insurance. And I feel like sometimes oppression, it is the root of it. They're telling you most of the time they're telling you to stay in this bubble and be happy.
Yeah.
But what if you can't stay in that bubble and be happy? Then what? What are you supposed to do? I'm sorry.
No.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
I'm listening.
Yeah, I would just go. I can go on and on because it's really dear to me because I've just went through it. Like, I think I was in a hospital October at Grady on the 13th floor at Grady. Scared. I was scared because I'd never been to jail, never been to anything like that, and I was there. And I was there, but I'm happy I was there because I got the help I needed. It's scary for you to be out there and you thinking like, what are people going to think about me? Yeah. And then I have 2 kids, so it's like, I don't want to hurt them or hurt myself. But then I learned about the disorder because I never even knew this many. I mean, it's easy to Google stuff, but I didn't know to Google like you didn't know. I didn't know to Google what I was going through, and if I Google what I was going through, it is panic disorder. But I didn't know that. And it's education. A lot of people are not educated in our community.
Yes. And LaShandra, I definitely wanted to, when I was gonna accidentally interrupt you earlier, I wanted to piggyback off of that because that's kind of what me and Chioma kind of linked on was education. Her thing for her organization is like the liberation through education. And for my organization, it's assessing our men's issues, implementing a solution for those issues, and then also educating those men on how to not relive those issues or not fall back into those mental health issues and, mental health states. As of right now, I'm taking a sociology class. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been in school, have ever taken a sociology class, but sociology is basically the study of everything social, the study of how humans interact, why they interact these types of ways. Like sociology and psychology are kind of like linked together hand in hand. And the reason I brought that up, because right now I'm writing a paper, and the topic for my paper is the lack of mental health awareness in our society, and why this topic has become so estranged from the socially accepted idea of success. And it's like, just to kind of summarize that, when you think of a successful person, or you think of a millionaire, you think of someone who quote unquote has money or is successful, you think of how much money they have. You don't think about how stable they are mentally. You don't think about how their family life is. You don't think about, how they take care of their children, how they take care of their wives or their husband. The social idea of success is only a monetary thing. And that's why it's good that we have these types of conversations, because mental health ties into success as well. I personally believe that. I personally believe that you can't be a successful person if you're not stable mentally and you don't understand what mental stability is and mental health is. And a lot in school and in education, the only thing they really teach us is like the foundations, they feel like, of our life. And then they don't have any classes that tell you how to deal with your mental health or the problems that you're having. They have like programs, they have counselors in school and stuff like that, but there's no actual classes that tell you, when you come into these mental, blocks in life, this is what you do. And then on the other end of that, in the home, especially, the urban homes or the Black homes, like Lashandra said, whenever you're having mental health issues or you're having problems, it's looked at as you're crazy, instead of, okay, let's go get you some help. You know what I mean? And it's not even so much of the parents' fault, because sometimes your parents, or whoever's in the home may suffer from mental health issues themselves that they don't understand. So it's definitely a generational thing. You guys saw that my grandma was on the line. She had to leave. She had another event to go to, but my grandmother is basically who raised me. My mother had me very young. So my grandmother, everything that she told you guys about her background and her life story, I saw that. I lived that. I was her child through that. You know what I mean? So I was fortunate enough to have someone in my home who was serious about mental health, or who I guess use mental health as a source of discipline almost in my home. Like some parents use the force of school, or the force of whoopings, or timeout, taking things away. You know what I mean? Honestly, my grandma disciplined me with helping me control my mental. And I know that might sound crazy to you guys. I wish you would still can be in this conversation so she can tell you about it, but it's just, that's one thing. We lack the education in school, and we also lack the education at home to kind of understand what mental health is and how we can combat it in this world.
I love that. There was something else that I wanted to add to that. It'll come to me. I was thinking I wanted to say about, I'm gonna read. But were you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just had one more, because I was writing down. I was loving what Lashandra was saying, so I was writing down a couple of things that I wanted to touch on, and also when she was speaking about her visit to Grady and how she said, "I never went to jail before." You know what I mean? And how she related that to Grady, and it's so funny because I live in Atlanta, and Grady is one of those hospitals that's your last resort. You know what I mean? Grady has some of the best doctors. Grady has some of the best, people that are going to help you, but the environment, you know what I mean? And it's not a very inviting environment. You know what I mean? So if you come from your neighborhood and people telling you you're crazy, then you go to this place that's supposed to help you and it's supposed to heal you. And it's more so like a jail. than you know what I mean, than a home. Like that's another thing we lack in society is inviting places, inviting conversations like the one that we're having now, to where people don't feel like they're crazy or they're locked up or they're in jail because of things that they're going through. We need to just put it on the forefront that everybody suffers some type of mental health issue. Everybody, every person walking on this world,
throughout their lifetime.
Exactly. And in some point of your life, you suffer some part, like even when it comes to back to quote unquote successful people, and they when they have children, you know, all of a sudden they drop off the scene. You know what I mean? And it's because having children is another trigger, you know what I mean, for mental health issues. And people don't really understand, like, they just don't really understand the emotional toll. People that don't have children, sorry about that, don't really understand the emotional toll that it takes on you. You know what I mean? When you have a child. And me and Chioma and LaShondra were talking about this in another conversation, as far as the men, because guys, I always have to speak up for the men. That's my life work. And we always talk about women going through postpartum depression, but we don't really highlight when men go through postpartum depression and when they have issues after having children. You can have the man who's the jock in school, you know what I mean? He graduates, he goes to college, he does all these things, and then he meets this woman and he loves her and he's so good to her, and then he has children with her, and then all of a sudden his life changes, his mind changes, and everything that he was so sure of and everything that he thought his life was going to be up until this point, it has changed. That happens for men just as much as it happens for women. So I think we need to open up that conversation as well about the different triggers and the different things that could, because you're not crazy. It's something that happened to you, you know what I mean? Or something that you went through that's making you think like that. So if we talk through it, we talk about it instead of calling someone crazy, then we would have some better outcomes.
I wholeheartedly agree on that. I would like to take an opportunity to kind of get in on this kind of conversation because I have two levels of how I'm going to approach this because, you know, just talking about my own mental health issues that I was able to overcome. One thing I will say is that before I go in, I'm going to say that everybody has a different way of coping with mental health. My way was spiritually. That doesn't always work for other people, you know, and that may not always be the only source of peace for all people. That just happens to be what it is for me. And this is why I like to have these types of conversations because, you know, I realized that spirituality hasn't saved everyone. You know, it honestly, it just hasn't, and it doesn't. But I was thankful enough. But you know, I think for me, my spirituality allowed me to look inward and allowed me to recognize what role I played in my current state of mental despair. And I will say this, I'm not in any way saying that things that happen to you are your fault. But I do believe that there is a voice, something called intuition. Some people call it intuition. Some people call it a little voice in your head. I call it the Holy Spirit that tries to guide us. But unfortunately, we're so drowned by what's around us, the stimulants that are around us, that it removes us from ourselves. And then we start emulating behaviors and adopting ideas that we internally don't actually believe in. You know, I was at one point so worried about what a man thought about me, you know, where, you know, from the things that I would put on, I would consider, well, I hope that I put this on that, you know, somebody look at me, or it's just everything. It was in contemplation of other people instead of myself. Is this something that I like? Then I had to start questioning myself. You know, I was in a relationship with a man where I felt like I did everything that I could to be what he wanted me to be, but I lost myself in that. And I think that in my experience, when I speak with people who have suffered mental health, I mean, honestly, if we just really look down to the root cause of things, a large source of our mental health problems, and this is not in any way a scientific notation, this is an observational statement. that a large source of our mental health stems on failed relationships. And it could be from parents. You know, when I used to host these live sessions, somebody said something to me that was so real. Most Black men, the first person that ever hurt them was a Black woman. A Black woman was the first person that ever hurt them. And guess who that Black woman was? It was their mother. And then you ask the question, then why is this happening? Why is it was a woman? You know, what did she go through? And then sometimes we are not able to be understanding or even try to, because it's hard. It's hard to, sometimes we want to have somebody to be upset with. Let me just put it like that. Sometimes we it's like we have to, because it removes responsibility from ourselves at a certain point. Like for me, as long as I kept on, and my source of pain was a person, I can say that. My mom was good to me, so I can't say it was a man, period. Okay? And my source of pain is, why wasn't I good enough for him? I did everything that I knew a woman should do. Why wasn't I good enough for him? What did I do? Why is it that this person can hurt me when I did nothing but good to them? And then when I stopped asking myself those questions and I start saying, well, did he tell you? And so then I remember a conversation. Then it made me sit back and it made me look at a time where my spirit, where if I go back and I examine my spirit, I remember a time where there was a warning. It was very little, but my desires were greater
right
than the consequence. You know, excuse me.
Right.
My desire was greater than what I can see as a consequence.
Yeah.
It again, that goes, I believe, from not maybe loving myself, because I was searching out of myself to find self-gratification. But when I stopped doing that, let me tell you what I did. I haven't had social media in 5 years, probably longer than that. Okay. That's how I healed. I let go of social media. And it's crazy because I'll be going down the street and people be like, oh yeah, what's your... I told myself that I would no longer have anything in my life that wasn't serving a purpose. My life is going to be purposeful. So I did not have social media because it did not serve a purpose in my life. The only purpose that social media served in my life was shaping my idea of reality. And it was an augmented reality because it wasn't real. Nobody's really happy. I'm just be honest. No one is actually, I'm happy, you know, and I'm saying this to say not everyone, but you know, when I got to this level of spirituality and I go back and I look at social media now, I see things so much more clearly. I see things so much more clearly. People take pictures of I was going down, my sister, she just got on the line. Her name is Fatima. She's 18. Definitely wanted to have a younger crowd in here so they can talk about you know, their experiences. But I would go down her social media and there will be pictures of boyfriend and girlfriend. And then people start shaping their idea of a perfect relationship is his and her car. Or the perfect idea of a relationship is matching Jordan. Oh, he got the black pair, I got the red pair. Or the perfect example of a relationship is taking a trip. When as soon as the camera went off, y'all arguing the whole time you're there. You know, so the thing about it is I realize that we're living in a place where we are so focused on pleasing people outside of us that we can't move forward. Even it was either Kennedy, Honey, you were talking about this idea of this monetary success and how success is equated to something that's monetary. And, you know, I really got to a place where I realized, you know, how many people are millionaires off of things they didn't even want to be a millionaire off of? They're millionaire, but that's not why they wanted to be a millionaire. Yeah, they got the money that they wanted, but that's not the passion that they had that's driving it. And so this is why I think we find that so many people who are in successful positions, their success or, you know, what they were chasing the idea of success, right? Instead of looking inward, finding out what your passions are, maximizing off of that and moving forward. And so that's where I think we are. And one last thing that I want to say, that I just really needed an opportunity to say this. I think that it's deeper than just outward, us looking outward. You know, it's about what we watch. I have a hard time with these movies that come out lately, where it's supposed to be Black empowerment, and there's this movie. I'm gonna say this, and I'm okay, and I'm willing to say this, but this movie Queen and Slim, and another movie that I just saw more recently, the Messiah, was it Messiah? What am I talking about? It was a movie you had to
it's Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna tell you with what my problems are with movies like that. Okay, Tish. What my problems are with this? It's like subliminally sending us messages. Still, this is what I'm talking about, the oppression. And Zendaya, but these impressions, like what they put, we don't even realize it, that they're telling us every day. Even in Black empowerment, they're talking about, they're showing us movies where we get murdered at the end. Where and not only do we get murdered at the end, a Black brother sold us out. That movie, Queen and Slim, was not a liberating movie to me, because it still sent a message that no matter what, we ain't never gonna get past where we are. And it just
right.
It just gets me, because we just go to the box office and we glorify it. We give it these great reviews. Even that other movie, American Skin, that was a great movie. But at the end of the movie, guess what? That man still got his head blown off.
Right. The Judas and the Great Messiah was like a documentary kind of sort of
constant message to us that no matter how much you want to break free the chains that the system put on you, you will never break free. So, you know, I have a real problem with it. I have a real problem with it, and I just really wish and hope that Hollywood would change that. You know, even more so, I'm gonna say one more thing. This whole Black History Month thing. Now, I know it's a good thing for us to, you know, I think we're past the time of talking about our slave history. I'm gonna be honest. I'm sick of it. You know, yes, we were slaves, but see, when we keep having those conversations, do you know what that does? It deposits things into your spirit that keeps getting embedded and embedded and embedded. My daughter had a project. She's 4. She goes to a private school. She had a project, and the project was a Black History Month project. Now, she decided to do hers on Rosa Parks. So after that, my daughter never questioned about white, black this, white, black. She never had those questions. It was until after that she said, "So, Mommy, does that mean that when we go to Walmart, we can't go to the white Walmart?" I said, "Yes, we can go to any Walmart we want to." She said, "But the white people may get mad at us." This is a 4-year-old. Why is she worried about this? This is why we need to change curriculum. Let's take out, we don't need to be, why are we still teaching babies about slavery? Let that be the parent's choice to teach them about slavery. Why can't we teach children about all of the Black inventors? Let that only be what you learn in school, because I don't hear that kind of stuff with other people. Why do we still find the need to teach our children about our slave history? That should be the responsibility of the parents, not of the school, because we need to control how that message is delivered to our children. Again, this is a part of systematic oppression. Decades and decades and decades and decades and decades and decades. We've got to find a way to liberate ourselves through education. That's just what we have to do. But yes.
Really quick, I just wanted to say something. It's so just really cool. Like I said, I'm in school right now, and I'm taking another class. It's a critical thinking class, and we're focusing on the humanities. So humanities are music, art, literature, just the different things, you know, that shape our world or whatever. And one thing that we studied last week was cultural appropriation.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys are familiar with cultural appropriation. I'm still really, it's kind of mind blowing for me, like being in the class, I'm still really trying to wrap my head around it. But Chioma, kind of what you were just explaining right now is an example of what is appropriate for someone of another culture to teach someone of another culture. You know what I mean? Like to what level is it appropriate for these, you know, people that are not African American, you know what I mean, or whose lineages do not have slaves in it, you know what I mean? Like, what level is appropriate for them to be teaching our kids? I totally agree with you that is a conversation that needs to be had at home, because that has to do with culture. And if we're going to, if society is going to use education as a means of education, you know what I mean? Like if they're only trying to educate us, then they should not bring their own feelings, you know what I mean, or their own ideals or their culture, you know what I mean, cultural idea of Black history, you know what I mean. That's just not something that should be a thing, because that does, going back to the conversation that we're having, that plays a part on their mental health and their mental stability. Like you said, before your daughter even had that project, she wasn't even thinking about stuff like that. So now it's on her brain. So now she's going to school. Now she's seeing black and white and yellow and orange. You know what I mean? Now she has more questions on why white people do this or why Black people do this. You know what I mean? And that does kind of keep us held back. It keeps us, you know, to a point where we're starting to go on a tangent way off from where we're supposed to be. And that's unfortunately their tactic in our society, in our community. That's the way that they do keep us back, and that's why we're here now having this conversation.
Fatima, I'm gonna put you on the spot, sweetheart. Fatima's my little sister. I'm gonna need you to come on off of mute to give your
I was trying to say something, but it was
okay.
you really getting into it, and I didn't want to interrupt you.
But this is me protective. She's 18, and I definitely wanted to hear her perspective and allow her to share only what she wants to share. But I definitely wanted her to share her perspective because she's a part of this media age, where it's crazy because she lives in this media age that's controlled by adults, actually, because it's the adults who are feeding them what they need to lead them on the path where they want them to go. It's all about, to me, control. And so I think that this We Have Us movement in itself has such a big responsibility, because I do not plan for this We Have Us to be a domestic nonprofit. It is currently. This is going to be a worldwide nonprofit, because one thing that I always say, everyone, is that oppression is a state of mind, and it's enforced by systematic change. Being that I am Nigerian, I see oppression. When I go to Africa, guess what? It's no white people. It's not a white person that's oppressing you. It is power. It's fight for power. And we are also living in an age where those who are oppressed are coming from, they're coming out of their programming, because oppression actually, I did a lot of researching, and oppression is equivalent to brainwashing. It is exactly that. But there's a way to deprogram people. I definitely recommend, I have some recommendations that I will share on some articles on actually deprogramming people. Now, you do need to use responsibility with this. You can't just go in there and try to deprogram somebody without a program. Like Kennedy has her approach. My approach, which actually matured from, again, being on that app, I felt like we were stuck in conversation. And I cannot be that person. I can't be that person who's getting up here having philosophical conversations to see who can sound the smartest about the idea. No, it's enough of that. So ours is to identify, measure, and respond. That's what we believe in. And it's very important that we have to get from behind conversation too. Yes, we're having a conversation, but what do we do next? What do we do past a conversation? Because again, I'm not trying to see who can sound the smartest. Because when I'm gonna ask you what you doing, oh, you sound real smart, but what you doing? Okay, so yes, Fatima, go ahead and share however you would like to contribute to this.
Okay, so I would like to talk about two things. So the first thing I would like to talk about is I would like to talk about the mindset that girls my age have when, like you said, when you went through social media or went through my social media and you saw what you think relationships is supposed to look like. Well, I remember when I first started school on virtual learning, and my teacher was one of the first teachers to ever talk about like our mental and are we fine? Like, are you doing okay? She was like, so how are you guys doing? Like, are you guys doing okay? Are you guys hurt? Like, she was the first person to ask. No other teacher asked. And a lot of people were saying that they were hurt and they're going through things and they're depressed and things like that. And every time she told us, she said, everybody respond with one reason why you feel like you're depressed or you're hurt and things like that. It was either school or boys. And I never understood it really because, you know, personally me, I've never like had no like real relationship with a boy until some time ago. Not trying to put my business out there, but honestly, that's the only way I'm going to get to my point that I'm trying to prove. Okay. So she was saying all those things like, you know, y'all let things like that get to you and we're just we can't depend on boys and things like that. And I was realizing that girls my age, and I talked to many of my friends and I realized girls my age, they give so much to a boy because of what they see on social media. They give so much. They give them anything they want while that boy does whatever he wants to do. And they become depressed and they just become hurt and they just feel like all they ever will have and all they ever need is a boy. And I can see how it can depress them. And I could see how, because it hurt me when I realized like boys, they don't care sometimes. Like they put you into a place where you just don't want to be. They start with the it's like it's in your head from the morning till night. Like it will not go away because your mind is just so on how they feel and what they think until you sit down one day or you just doing something. And I'm not trying to put Christianity on everybody, but that's what I know. So like sometimes I'll do whatever I have to do, cleaning or whatever. And I'm sitting down and I'm realizing this boy is turning me into something that I never knew I could do. Because personally, me, I don't play that. Like I've never been a person that somebody, especially not in like a family, like who's not in my family, that can switch me into something that I never knew that I could turn into. I'm talking about giving my all. And I can see how that deals with girls my age because I can really tell. I mean, I'm talking about they'll post anything, they'll give anything, and they don't even realize in the moment that that the person is turning them constantly and constantly. And I just wish that people would talk about it more because I feel like sometimes they don't want to tell their parents because either they done did something that they weren't supposed to do with the boy when the parents asked, or they don't trust their parents enough to tell them because they feel like they will react in a way that they won't like, and they'll be depressed on their own with nobody to talk to.
I want to add so bad because it goes back to oppression.
I love it.
That women are the most oppressed beings that exist on planet Earth globally. Women are oppressed globally. And this is why our happiness is based on a man's acceptance of who we are. Because globally we are oppressed. We are made to believe from when we were children that men are stronger than us. Granted, a lot of them are. Like I whatever the case may be. But the reality of the situation is we have been made to believe globally, if you examine many cultures, women, okay, in general, are just the bottom of. We just started getting. We still don't even get paid equivalent to what but we raised the same men who write the checks to tell us that we're not gonna get the same amount of money that they get. When it was a single mother who raised that man, but yet we.
Go ahead. No, y'all know I'm.
It's so sad that it is penetrating our youth.
Yeah.
That our youth are already experiencing it. But this is what I was gonna ask to Rhea because I haven't heard her speak yet.
Yeah.
And then I know, honey. I know you want to go right now. I want to ask you because this is something that a question that I had before my aunt left and your mom and your grandmother left. Oh man, but we got one person here. Okay, what do you think we can do for our little girls? Because right now it's them who we working for. Like this is for them because they're gonna be the ones. I'm gonna need them to have enough empathy not to put me in the old folks home when I get old. Okay, so we're gonna have to make sure we take good care of them, so they can take good care of us. Okay, so we're gonna help them because we need them. What do you think we can do for our women who feel that their happiness is equivalent to a relationship and the idea and what their relationship looks like? How do we help combat that? Because unfortunately, we already see that these seeds have been sold into them very early.
Yeah.
How do we escape this generational cycle?
I think it's time for us to like just start having real conversations with our youth, like just real conversations. And I think it starts, like you said, kind of like with the mom, like just knowing your mom's story as a woman, like not just as a mom, like with my mom, she was very transparent about growing up, like just transparent about like her relationships, like her relationship with my brother's father didn't work out. Her relationship with my father did not work out. She's now with, my technically he's my stepdad, but I call him he's my father because he raised me basically. And she married him at 40 and that was her first marriage, 40 years old. And she's been with him. So yeah, for 20 years, she's been with him for 20 years. So, I mean, just, having those conversations, like knowing that, ladies, it's okay if you're 25 and not married, like that is okay. Everyone's story is not the same. Why are we all trying to chase her story? Her story is not your story. You know what I'm saying? And just building up our little girls as the queens that they are, realizing what they need to look for in a man, and know that, you have certain qualities, certain things that you look for in a man that these men need to come with. And if he, does not meet that quality or something like that, we're not going to just, say like, oh, like he's nutting or something like that. But it's just saying like you have a certain standard in your life and you need to uphold within that. So I just think that it's just time for us just to have those honest conversations and just be upfront. That's some.
Let me ask you one other question.
Yeah.
How early do you feel? How soon do you think those conversations should we start having those conversations?
I think as soon as when they start kind of just asking questions about like the romantic, type of relationships, I think that's like around like 5th grade is when they start talking about, or is that 5th grade when they start, or younger than that? Is it?
My daughter's 4. She asked
4?
She
Yeah.
asked me now, you and Daddy gonna get married?
Oh.
She's always wanting me to marry her dad. Now, me and her father is great father. I will say that he's a great father, but he didn't treat me right when we were together. He hurt me, and that was the source of my depression. I will be honest and transparent with that. We've had that conversation. I shared that and we've moved past that, and I think maybe that's why I was able to grow because I didn't hold the hurt that he caused me against him. Because just like Kennedy said, we had a conversation one time, and we do try to be very transparent with my daughter, because she's so inquisitive. She's 4.
Yeah.
Today in the store, she's like, "Hallelujah! Thank you, God, for this drink. Yahweh, you are so good. For talking about that. The people in the store, this and that, and her like, what are you talking about? Yeah, so she's very inquisitive and she wants to know. Nonetheless, so you know, her father told me that a large majority of why he acted out to me the way he did is that he was afraid. You know, he's used to living his life a certain type of way. He got a, you know, what do you call that? A convertible top car, and you know what I'm saying? And, you know, living his best life. And then, you know, now he has a child on the way. And so I think that men uh, express their postpartum differently than women. I just actually am starting to feel that the real issue about the separation in our home, not to get too off topic, but all of it is interconnected because it all makes sense one day, is men are also facing postpartum issues. But unfortunately, society has made it easy for men to run away from their postpartum depression by being absent. Whereas women, we have to be present and go through those things. And this is why it's great that we have organizations like Kennedy, like Honiey, where we can show them that you don't have to be absent to deal with it. Running away isn't dealing with it. So yeah, and Kennedy, yes, I know, girl, I can feel it.
One thing a lot of people learn about me is when I'm passionate, you know what I mean? I got to learn how to be quiet, you know what I mean? Because it's just a lot of things that it's so many points that you guys hit on, and I love it. I love being a part of conversations like this, because starting back to what Fatima said, one thing that I have learned in my studies is from a very young age, men are taught to control women's mental. Yeah. They are taught to, that is how you make a separation from the man and the woman in the home. You have to be in control. You have to be in control of the finances. You have to be in control of the children, and you have to be in control of your wife or the woman, you know what I mean, in the home. So yes, it does trickle down, you know, on the woman's side. You know, it does seem like, well, why is he doing this to me? You know, why is he trying to control me like this? Why does he want me to be free? But in you know, to kind of defend the men, you know what I mean? That's just how they're raised, and that's how they are set to that. That's their education. You know what I mean? We're taught to not let a man treat us any type of way, or not let a man to control us. But they are taught, if you're not controlling that woman, if you don't have her mind, you don't have her mental, that's not your wife. That's not the woman for you. If she's not submitting to you, then that's not the woman for you. And that's where I feel like the education comes in the young men and the young women. We need to rewrite the definition of relationships, because it is not relationships should be a union of two, you know, individuals, not necessarily one individual controlling the other. You know what I mean? And that's just control is basically the main thing that we're focusing on in relationships. And that goes back to society and how society routes our thinking, you know what I mean, and how they control our thinking. So not only, you know, starting the conversation with the little girls, but also starting the conversation with the little boys. You know what I mean? You don't have to be in control of that little girl. You glorify her. If you love her, you know what I'm saying? If you like her, then you tell her how beautiful she is instead of telling her how you want her to look. You know what I mean? Because they don't know the difference. So if they just don't know, then they can't act, you know, in better ways. So the best way to get our women out of that mentality is starting with who's putting that on them, and that's the little boys. You know what I mean? Teaching them that that's not okay to do that, because they think it's okay just because, you know, that's how they're taught.
Yeah, definitely.
Go.
I was gonna say, y'all definitely make good points. And Chairman, you mentioned about fear. I was just thinking, like, just so much of how much fear, just in general, how that feeling, how that I consider fear a spirit, actually, kind of, because it does control you. You know, fear keeps us from so much opportunity, from even conversations I have with our loved ones, of, you know, the reaction Definitely, that's a great point.
Yes, okay. I agree with you on the fear thing. Am I lagging too? I just want to know, am I lagging? Because Kennedy is going, okay. Am I lagging? Okay, you're lagging a little bit, but I can still hear you. You're so, again, girl, this fear, I 100% look at fear as well as a spirit. There's this song that, we sing growing up. God has given us a spirit of fear. The Lord has given us. And it is so true because I find that a huge part of healing and self-improvement is emotional awareness. It is a practice. It's almost like a meditative practice, but you can actually do it consciously. Just as you can practice it consciously with people around you. And not saying that you should purposely put yourself in situations where you have to force yourself to become emotionally aware, but you should examine yourself at all times in communication and find out in those conversations what is triggering you. And so I have found that becoming emotionally aware is so very important because I realize that fear is something that's outward of me. So like when I feel fear, it's not something that's inside. It's a feeling that I feel overtakes me, right? It's not a feeling that I'm feeling from within me. It's not. It's outside of me because it's a stimulating feeling that happens and then controls me because I have control of myself until fear sets in. And so it's for me about how do I prevent this, or what coping mechanisms can I use to prevent fear from entering into me? So then I question myself, well, why am I fearful about this? Okay, am I gonna die? Am I gonna die? Is this gonna kill me? No. So then I start then creating an environment where I would within myself, because remember, I'm inside of myself. Everything inside of me is good. It's the world that tells us that we're naturally bad. No, according to my faith, we were all born good. It's outside influences that influence us to do things that are not from us. Because if we really examine that, we're not bad. We weren't born bad. Yet we were born into a place where the prince of evil, I believe, is allowed to reign right now. But we wouldn't have those little voices telling us something was wrong if good didn't exist inside of us. You know what I'm saying? We just wouldn't. So I realized that even anger, there's nothing wrong with being angry. This is where I think, not to mix religion and things like that, but I do believe that religion plays a large role on mental health and one's ability to not seek mental health, because some people feel that, just go to church, just pick up a Bible. But even in
right,
you have to go beyond that.
I have something to say. I wanted to talk about hit on oppression, because we did talk about oppression, but we talk about far as we talk about a different oppression. But I'm going to tell you some oppression that I've seen and witnessed myself. Far as a little bit about me. I told you a little bit about me, but actually, I also lived into I want to call based on income, so AKA hood. And I've seen a lot of people that's oppressed. I've seen a lot of people mentally oppressed. They give them all these things, but that doesn't mean that they actually know or they're educated on what to do with them. Or when, it is, I'm trying to find a better a way to explain it. So mind you, I was living next to a lady. I know she had some type of mental illness, because the things she just did and said, I think it was a lack of education and a lack of and mental illness. Just because you're giving these tools don't mean you know what to do with it. If nobody is just explaining to you what this is and what this is, because mind you, people in those like I'm gonna say in the hood, they're passed down these apartments. So they grandma live here, grandma died, the mom lives there, the mom died, they give it to the kids. So it's passed down. A lot of the times you see them doing whatever their parents did.
Yeah.
It's not the bettering themselves. And just because you're giving them food stamps, or even sometimes just because you're giving them Medicaid, don't mean they know what to do with that either.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's a lot of them that they got medicated, they won't even go to the doctor.
Yeah.
So it's you're giving them stuff, but are you educating them? That's my point. Yeah. You're giving them a lot of things, but are you educating them, or are you doing this to oppress them? So they won't be competing with you. Because I feel like a lot of it, they're not educated on hygiene. And I'm not gonna say everybody in the hood, but I want to say a good 80%. They don't know no other way. They don't know nothing else. They're not watching TV. They're not listening to the radio. So how do they know? They're not reading. They're educated through they are a victim of their environment. And they're educated through their parents, and their parents were lived in that same environment. And I do have to, I'm sorry.
What do you think is the way out of that? You know, like how do we create value in education to individuals who never valued it in their in the history of maybe their family? How do we create value?
I feel like really, I think it's like what they say, faith of a mustard seed. That's basically what it is. You have to, okay, for one thing, if they get a job, then it's just, once you get a job, I think that's the root to everything to me. That's just my opinion. Because once you get a job, you talk different, you act different, you want more. It's a lot of different things. If you're showed how to even just apply to a job, or to fill out online applications or some computer classes, I think that's a start. Because a lot of them are not tech savvy, and they don't have good phones because they don't have money. So they don't have all these things. And I'm not going to say everybody's like this, but I live in an area where a lot of people are like that. Chioma knows. I had a neighbor, and it was like mind-blowing some stuff she did. And I didn't grow up in the hood. I just lived in there when I had a kid, and I didn't have nowhere else to go. So a lot of the stuff we used to blow our minds they did there. And I didn't understand it. I really didn't understand it, and I wanted to get away from it. That's how I ended up moving. Because I couldn't understand, why are these people so oppressed? Like, all you care about is throwing a party on Saturday. That's all. I got to work every day. Y'all don't even care about nothing. I didn't get it. I was immature in the mind. I didn't get what was going on around me. But I know it can, sometimes I feel like it can, when you're not a strong-minded person, it can hold you back a little bit.
Yeah. So how do we position ourselves when, like, again, we go into, I'll let Kennedy state her model, but for us, it's identified. So we've identified, we've measured the impact. And then now we're ready for the response. How do we position ourselves to be the solution, to be the change that we're looking for? I always say that we have to be the change we're looking for. And because it starts with us, we can't, it goes back to what you said, Shonda, like, the government has given people these resources, but they don't know how to use those resources. So how do we position ourselves into communities to ensure that they're able to leverage those resources and find their way out? Or do you think we're going to be stuck in this whole battle to be on top? Because it seems as though that's then the next battle, but yeah, what do you guys think about that?
So I would say I was going to kind of help LaShondra with that question, because I want to kind of take, I get what she's saying. Like, we need to, first of all, to answer your question, how do we combat this? We educate, period. Like, that's what my organization and your organization is about, educating. We have classes about insurance, have classes about healthcare, have classes about credit. You know what I mean? That's how we educate, because the thing about it is, like Lasondra said, they don't want us to be in competition with them. I have also worked in insurance, and if anybody has worked in insurance, they know that insurance is like one of the most grimiest, you know what I'm saying, businesses ever, because it's a situation to where we don't know, but they know that, you know what I mean, everybody on that insurance plan is paying for each other. That's how it's linked together. You know what I mean? So if one person on that policy gets in an accident, everybody's insurance next year is going up. You know what I mean? It's one of those types of situations. So they don't want us to be in those types of competition with us because they see us as high risk. They see us as making their insurance go up. But, you know, we don't think about stuff like that. You know what I mean? We just think we're getting free insurance. But it's just crazy. I'm sorry, my kids walked in, guys, so I just got a little distracted. But yeah, it just comes in with educating and letting our people know the real, because yeah, you can get Medicaid, but there's only so much you can get with Medicaid when you go to the doctor. You know what I mean? So they're just thinking, well, at the end of the day, I don't get a tax penalty because I have insurance. You know what I mean? We're thinking so simple-minded. We're not educated deep enough to know, you know what I mean, what we need insurance for, what insurance covers. You know what I mean? That's when these classes will come in.
Who you need to see. They don't know
who you need to see. Exactly. When you're
as
having
far as mental health comes across, I had the problem. I'm going to use myself as an example. I had the problem where I didn't know. I knew you can go to I didn't even really know you can go to the hospital for, like, if you wasn't okay mentally. You can actually go to the hospital and they can help you.
Yeah, and not only that, what people don't understand is, like I said, if you're insurance, well, you'll understand HMOs and PPOs. Medicaid is an HMO. That means that there's a whole network of doctors that you have to start with a doctor that doesn't even specialize in mental health to even get a referral to a doctor for mental health. You know what I mean? It's all these loopholes that you got to go into, when really you might really have the money to have a PPO, to be able to have insurance to go to any doctor you need to. But again, we're not educated on the different types of insurances that are out there, and we're only given the insurance that they want us to have.
But the first thing what we have to start with first is educating them on, like, technology and reading stuff. I know a lot of people in the hood that can't even read, to be honest. They can't even read. And these adults.
You know, not to cut you off, Chandra, but I do have my mom talks to me about a friend of hers who went all the way to college and didn't know how to read. How is this happening?
It's happening because it's happening because they learned that they didn't have to learn how to read, and they've been living. But when you want to go, they can only take you so far.
Yeah,
let's be honest. That can only take you so far in this world. So you have to break down and learn what you need.
Yeah,
and the order we have to tell them, in order to get farther, you're gonna have to do these certain things that make you uncomfortable, and you're not gonna understand and know how to do, but it's gonna help you in the long run. Because word of mouth doesn't mean nothing these days. You know, people tell you anything. They'll lie to you or anything, you know, because everybody's trying to step on other people's necks to get up. And then as far as the mental health thing, what I was trying to say about the mental health, I know I want to tell people about the resource about grading. Okay, so far as grading, they do have a behavior clinic. Behavior clinic meaning it deals with addiction and mental health. So if you was to go to the hospital and you're not feeling well, you tell them, because they have a mental health emergency room where they do have different people coming in. They do have mental health is a wide variety, and it's mental health and behavioral. So it might be some drunk people in there. It might be a lot of different things going on in it. But at the same time, I didn't have insurance. One thing about it now, if I even get insurance, I'm still going to Grady because they are awesome. They really are. I've went to several doctors and they turned me away. I was hurting in pain, and I went to the hospital. They turned me away. They basically said, "Oh, call your They said you don't have any insurance. Call your go to urgent care or something like that." That's bad Piedmont. So I was so afraid to go to the hospital. I didn't have the insurance, but I do have a number. If anybody wanted, can pass it along.
Put it in the number. So the chat is visible.
Okay, I put it in the chat. I will. And it the behavior clinic, like, again, It deals with mental health and addiction. So, alcohol addiction, they have a lot of different resources. Their psychiatrists are pretty good. They're very good, like very good. You have therapists there. You have a lot of different things going on there. So I know for me, it was a little, I went to the hospital and I had to stay on the 13th floor. It was a little shock to my system. I ain't gonna lie. But at the same time, I think I needed that awakening. I needed it because I'm better. I'm doing better than what I was. I'm not feeling good today, but tomorrow you never know. But I'm gonna put it in the chat. I'm gonna put the address and the number, and I'm gonna put right in. You can reach out and call the number. It's like an operating number. It got a lot of operators, and you just tell them what you need. You need financial counseling. Financial counseling is where they determine how much you pay, because they have like their own so-called insurance. It's called Grady Card. Okay. And that will get you to talk to anybody. Grady not only deals with surgeries and trauma, which we all know. Mm-hmm. They have a dermatologist. They have all these things, and you don't have to pay. I don't have to pay nothing to go. That's beautiful. And they have a lot of charities that even if you needed an operation and you don't have the money for an operation, they have charities to pick up. I broke my leg last year, didn't have no insurance. My doctor bill was $70,000, and they paid for everything, but $150.
You know, something that I'm always an advocate for, because I realize that so often our communities, and it's not on purpose. I know that again, this is where the system was designed. That we again look outside of ourselves for help instead of looking inside for help. There's actually this quote that I found. I wrote it down. I just thought it was this: when society turns its eye away from when society would turn its eyes away from the deepest questions of responsibility, brainwashing becomes an explanation that avoids the responsibility of looking inward. And you know, that was very that spoke to me on many levels. But what I took from that most, which may be ironic, is that we need to again continue with this liberation through education movement, because if we can't get help at the doctors, then we need to go into these communities and teach them like what holistic medicine. You know, if you go back to Africa or other countries where healthcare isn't as easy to reach, I'm not saying that we should play like we're doctors or anything like that. But before there was a profession as a doctor, there were people, there were medicine men and women in our communities. So why don't we go back into holistic approaches, educating ourselves? You can go on Groupon and get a class and become certified as an herbalist. Like these are things that I am willing to do, to go out to communities in these urban communities and find 2 or 3 people who represent the community and train and pay for them. Even if I can't pay for them to go through classes so that they can be a help to their community. So if they can't go to the doctor, that they have a certified herbalist or holistic care, certified holistic care. I think every impoverished community should have multiple individuals who they can go to. I mean, we give our money so many different places. Let's not even talk about where we spend our money. You know, if we would use our money into building our communities from within, then we won't have to be, first of all, we won't be as angry because we're not going to be looking to someone else to solve problems because we're solving them on our own. So I do feel that there's so much value in, you know, educating individuals in self-care. You know, there's something, you know, mental health problems or mental instabilities, a huge part of that, guys, is food. You guys would be so surprised how what we eat how it negatively impacts our ability to overcome mental health issues. I mean, honestly. Okay. Thank you. I enjoy talking to you too. Everybody say bye. We're about we're gonna leave in about 20 minutes. But Rhea is gonna leave us for a little bit. Let me let Rhea say her last words before she goes. If she hasn't.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for having me join this live and chat with y'all ladies. I hope to meet y'all in person soon. It would be so nice to do this in person after COVID or anything, but I really enjoyed having this conversation with you ladies, and I look forward to the next one.
Thank you so much. We enjoyed you, and we will definitely be keeping us all in the loop. Definitely, Aria, if you go on the We Have Us website, we have groups and we have forums. Invite your friends to join. Again, We Have Us we're not just trying to tackle one side. We want to tackle it all. So if we can get us all in one place, all of the oppressed in one place, like I said, you can go on there, become a member, create your own group, invite your family members to that group. You guys have conversations, come up with different things that you want to do in the community. So we have a forum and we have a chat. So it is, in a sense, a social networking platform in itself as well. So again, I encourage you guys, we don't have it. This is new. Like I said, we just launched February. So we don't have users right now, other than myself and maybe Chandra. But definitely go in and invite people. Like, this can be the next Facebook. You know what I'm saying? This can be the next Black Planet. Y'all remember Black Planet? Like,
yes.
Like the site is already optimized for it. We're just waiting for it. We're just waiting for people. We just need you guys to come. So it's optimized. You can share videos, photos, same experience you can get from Facebook. You can get on there. So I encourage you guys to go on the We Have Us website and create your own group. And let this be the next Black Planet. Okay. Shout out to Black Planet wherever they are.
Yes. Have a good night, ladies.
Yes, Fatima, do you have anything you want to anything else? I know you do. Please, I would love to hear any additional input that you want to include. Again, hearing your viewpoint is probably the most important of all.
Yes, so I was gonna say the second thing that I was trying to talk about was you were saying how, Lonnie, she went to school and she had to learn about Rosa Parks and stuff like that. But I feel like through your elementary years and through your middle school year, even up to high school, I feel like a lot of things was hidden. Like everything that I know now about really happened with slavery and things like that, I learned off of TikTok or Instagram.
Okay.
Like I didn't even know that this girl who I follow, and she was talking about she was saying how during those times that they used to kill the slaves and they used to use their hair as wool and put them in the couch, and that would be the stuffing for the couch. This man, he linked his video to hers, and this man had one of the oldest, like I'm talking about very, very old. He works on couches or whatever he does and make antiques and stuff. And he opened the couch and it was black, I'm talking about African American hair. Like it was so like 4C hair. I was like, that is crazy. And with the Thanksgiving, like everything, it's just like everything is hidden. And I just feel like it's not fair because half of these people, I did not even know, half of these people who made chips, who make all these African Americans, they make a lot. They are they make up everything. They make up everything, and nobody knows. They put it all. When I was in the first person I learned when I was in elementary, I think it was Alexander Graham Bell about a phone. Mm-hmm. I never learned anything else. In every Black History Month, all you do is, okay, we watch the Martin Luther King movie, the cartoon, we watch it, and we have a play, and then that's it. And it's really sad because I feel like they put it in the mindset of children to believe white people are the are the build of everything. And it's just not, it's just terrible. And it's even up to high school, and that we're still trained to believe that.
White people, they put in the mind white people are saviors, the saviors. And they're more smarter than us. Basically, that's what I took from the books, the textbooks anyway, because you have all this history on everybody else, but you have a little chapter about us.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't tell nothing about all the people that invented all the things.
Exactly.
You know, bringing it back to oppression, there was something that I was thinking about earlier. It was about, again, going back into oppression and the oppressive mindset. Somebody was talking to me. Oh, there's a video. You should go on my Instagram and watch it. It talks about systematic oppression, and it talks about how when and maybe even a story that I heard about how you told me the story, Chandra. I'm sorry, guys, I'm jumping because I'm trying to get my mind focused on what it is. I'm a little under the weather, but there's something that you're telling me about a job. I'm not going to say so much, but about somebody, you know, who went to a job and a white lady came in and she needed a job and he was like, get her a job. And she had a job right then. And you asked me a question. And I also, in that video about systematic oppression, it talks about how two children can go to the same school, same Ivy League college, have the same GPA when they graduated, and the white student would get more calls back to work than the black student who had the same credentials. And you know this is where they call it in statistics a lurking variable. See, we can't just focus on that data. We have to identify what the lurking variable is. What is the lurking variable? The lurking variable is that there are more people who are not of African American descent who have a position of power to even allow that. See, I'm going to be honest with you. I am not against a person doing that. I'm going to be honest with you. And it's not that I'm showing bias, but it's the reality of the situation. If you have two people in front of you who have the exact same information on paper, one's black and one's white, you happen to be white, you know, please excuse me, this is my own personal opinion. Is it wrong that you chose that person? I don't believe that it is, because it's not anything to separate the two. But the issue is not the choice. The issue is the lack of representation in those positions. And furthermore, the issue is that when people of our skin color get into positions where we can make those same decisions, we're so focused on, based off of history. We're going to talk, this goes back all the way into history. We may not even want to give that person a chance because we feel like not enough of us they're not going to allow too much of us. So it's like we're constantly fighting with our brother to be successful because we've been programmed that there's only enough room for about 3 of us. You know, it's only enough room at this company for one of us to get into a management position, and that, yeah, well, I can't bring you up, man, because it's only one of us. What if you do better than me? You know, it's like the conditioning is so many layers deep, y'all. It's so many layers deep, where we have to then educate those who have made it to these positions to not be uppity, you know? Stop being so uppity. Why do you look down at your brother? Because let me tell you something. If they had a choice, you wouldn't be there either, okay? So we have to stop looking at those who we feel should be in a better place than what they are. You know, I think that goes with it too. Well, you know, I had to go, you know, we have to stop looking at each other for where we are and maybe start looking at the potential, you know. And I'm not saying that exert all of your energy trying to save someone, but there's a lot of people who actually do want to be saved. They just don't have the opportunity. They don't have, they haven't even been shown a vision. They haven't even seen anything greater than what's around them, so they can't even dream. I am pretty sure that if we took every African American that lives in the United States who never traveled outside of the United States, if we took them somewhere out of the United States, I am very positive that they would somehow, some way have some type of vision or way out of their circumstance. And that's why I think it's very important that we travel. And if we can't do it physically, then we need to find a way to give it to people virtually. And that's traveling through our mind, traveling through society, traveling through actual, real education, valuable education, not just about you used to be a slave, because know it or not every Black person is a descendant of a slave. That's another lie that they told you. Another lie that they told you is that every Black person in America is African, or every Black person in America is a descendant of a slave, and that's not true. There were Black, do you know that there were Black Native Americans that had our same skin color who were native to this country before it was conquered? So these are things that we have to continue to educate people about, educate our people about, even women. It's so many levels. There's so many levels. I know we're talking about mental health, but all of this is related to mental health. It really, really is, because it's conditioning, and conditioning requires mental control. It does. You cannot condition a person without being in control of their mental. It's impossible. Yes, Kennedy.
I didn't want to say anything. I was just agreeing with what you were saying.
Yeah, it's just.
Oh, and then I could add something. It's just like more like brain exercising. Just like any other muscle in your body. You have to exercise your brain, and you have to condition your brain to think in a certain type of way. Mm-hmm. And they have found the ultimate way to do this, which is instill a government on the people, give them rules, give them regulations, put a jail, prison, whatever their consequences are for, things. But we just have to kind of reclaim, one thing that Rosa Derrico says is reclaim the foundation of the earth, and reclaim our minds, and don't allow them to brainwash us, don't allow them to just keep us as systematic people. We are not naturally a systematic people. We are naturally a cultural people and a spiritual people. And we are naturally, a giving people, And the system is what kind of separates us, And separation is our ultimate kryptonite as a people. So that's definitely something, just moving forward in these conversations that we need to talk about, ways on how we're going to educate, not only with classes, And even with the classes, we have to figure out, okay, if they're using government to separate us or to do this to us, let's get in the government. Like that's the problem that I have personally with the mayor of Atlanta right now. One of our colored sisters, I don't feel as though she uses her power enough to, reclaim the foundation of our world, and do the things that we need to be done to have our voice be heard. She's just a face right now. And that's not only her fault, It's her job. So it's nothing bad against, our mayor or anything like that. That's why I didn't, mention her name. But it's just certain things that we have to do. Get in the government, make these classes that we come up with a part of. Because even me and Shoma, like with the Small Business Association, make mental health classes something that you have to go through in order to register your business in Georgia. That's something small that we can do, to kind of bring awareness to the fact that mental health plays a part in everything. That's just a very small, minute thing that we can do to kind of just put our cause out there, guys. So let's do it.
Okay, as far as I know I was going to say something about like you said about Keisha. When we first voted for her, the thing about it is we're so busy trying to be fair. They wasn't fair to you, so you want to be fair to everybody. But if they was to get in office, they mean everybody except Black people, was to get in office, they're looking out for their people. Believe that. Black society always wants to be fair. I don't know why. Oh, baby, I know why. I think I know why. Because a lot of people weren't fair to them. Yeah. And when they get in power, they want to be fair to everyone. They want to be a mayor to everyone. But she knows about a lot of things, and she chose not to deal with a lot of things. And that's what. And then we have to be fair. Also, it's like we don't know how it is to be in government. We don't know how, because the stuff that she did fight for. Look, she got slapped with a suit from the governor and embarrassed.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Fear. The thing is that
fear, exactly.
And let me just say this, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm not saying this to spite anyone, but we have to be willing to fight for this cause, knowing that there's a possibility that we may not live through the end of it. Let me just say that, because that's the thing. We stop because they show us that we're going to get murdered. Okay. They show us if you get out there, we're going to get shot. Well, get shot because they need us. At the end of the day, they need us. You know, okay, let me not tell people to get shot. No. But what I'm saying,
we know what you mean. We know what you mean.
Yes. What I'm saying is that you have to step away from fear. That's it. One thing I'm gonna tell you, I'm not a communist or whatever those, those different labels that they try to use. But one thing I'll tell you about what I admire about the Chinese, which they have their own problems too. But what I do admire about the Chinese is that they're very culture-based, and they do appreciate Western societies and certain things that Western society provides, but they still maintain their culture, and that's why they're rising to be this great nation. And if we were to do the same thing back home in Africa, we would have a whole world behind us. We would have a whole world behind us if we were to stop being so afraid. There's somebody was talking about like Jim Crow. Yes, I remember one time I was having a conversation on a live channel, and there was a racist guy. I was racist. He came up there. He was actually respectful. I respect him for coming up there and being respectful and just telling me what it was I felt. He was telling me that white people are afraid of Black people, because we have to also realize that the same mental game that's being played on us is being played on white people too. Because you cannot influence a person to cut another person's hair off and push it and put it as fluff. You can't influence a person to keep whooping a person until they bleed and still keep whooping them without ingraining some level of desperate fear. It's like they are fear. This is something that they taught, and I've never ever looked at anything from that perspective, because unfortunately, when you've existed in an oppressive state for so long, or an environment for so long, it makes you not even want to consider the other person. But honestly, the only way to move forward is to have consideration for why they're even able to do that. Don't you question yourself? How is a person able to put this level of hate towards somebody? Yeah, and that's the problem with. That's what I want to say. Problem, but that's the thing with Black people. I think Chandra was saying that we're trying to be fair. It's because we have not, even though we have lost everything, we have not lost our sense of
compassion.
And compassion. Because what do you have to tell a person? What do you have to systematically put on a person for a person to feel that it's okay to put their knee on a man's neck and not give a daggone if he can't breathe? To what urge, the amount of urge that it takes to stand on camera there as a person, you see people around you recording you. What level of hate is fear? How deep is that for a person to feel like it's okay? How deep is it for a person to chase a man who's just minding his own business, that you see this person as that much of a threat that you walk up to him and you shoot him, minding his business running. What we have to repair everybody's life. Everybody is messed up. I'm just telling everybody is messed up. Everybody's mind is messed up because this is just it goes down and we can go to other countries, we can talk about the same thing. What level of fear? Who is the driving force behind this fear that is propelling this forward constantly? We have to have these conversations, and we have to have. There was what I did read. I'm going to share this article about deprogramming. It talks about the uncomfortable phase of deprogramming, where you have to put it in somebody's face. Yes, sometimes you got to show people who their ancestors were, for them to not be who their ancestors were. Us too. Us too. Sometimes we have to show the lack of, well, the ignorance and it's not, and we think, and people think about ignorance, they think they always say ignorant as a negative term. It's not a negative term. I mean, it's you don't know, right? So if you highlight what didn't work, then we can fix that going forward. And one thing that I want to ask everybody on the panel is, why do you think, not why and what do you think can be done to help my movement, her movement, other movements like this, to actually be the change this time? Because we did this with the Black Panthers, and we only see the history that we're being shown, but the Black Panthers never died. The Black Panthers are still operational, and they're still doing things for the community. But what can we do to actually make this change something that is not just a decade of fight the power, fight the power? You know, what can we do to make this something that sticks? This is I will be honest with you, I'm a spiritual person and I have spiritual vision. This is our last opportunity. This is the last opportunity for the oppressed to rise. It is the last opportunity. We just came out of a pandemic where, at least in the United States, over 500,000 people have died from corona, not to mention heart disease, which is the #1 killer for African Americans. We are being wiped off. We have to educate and liberate ourselves. We are in a place where we are literally going to have to make a choice between good and evil. That's it. That's what it is. A choice between good and evil. And you have to figure out what side of the fence you're going to sit on, whether you Black, white, Chinese, man, woman. You better figure it out really soon what side you want to sit on. Because it's not going to be that much more time for you to be straddling the fence. Because if you're straddling the fence, you're on the side of the evil, period. Because that's just it. No more straddling the fence. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, and you better govern yourself accordingly, or you're going to end up in a place of permanent despair.
So I guess I'll go because I really just had an instant answer. I have two things that I feel like we can do. Number one, spiritual education. I was speaking with a friend of mine, and we were talking about how religion has become almost a form of abuse. Yeah, I know that's kind of deep, you know what I mean, for some people, but religion has definitely become a form of abuse. And, you know, as a people, as a person, no matter white, Black, Chinese, whatever, when you feel abused, you run away from that. Nobody runs toward abuse. You know what I mean? Nobody runs toward stuff like that. So that's one point. And then another point that I would make is play their game. Put our money and our monetary value behind the things that we believe in. One thing about it is a lot of us as Black people or a people, a culture, you know, we believe in our community, but we don't want to put our most prized possession behind our beliefs. And that means we don't really believe, if we must be honest with ourselves, guys. Like, we look at it as, you know, they just want money, you know what I mean? Or everybody just want my money. And that's another systematic thing that they're doing to us. Yeah, okay, yeah, y'all can have a job, you can make 6 figures, you can go to school, you can do everything we can do, but we're not going to teach you what to do with your money. You know what I mean? We're going to teach you that you need to keep your money because all of your people don't get this opportunity. You know what I mean? It's just really crazy how they have us thinking. So we definitely, those of us who are financially stable, you know, whatever that may mean, or those of us who do have a little extra money, we need to stop putting our money into frivolous things. And whatever, you know, I say it so widely because there's so many things that we spend our money on that is not toward a cause, and it's not toward liberating our people, and that's towards distractions, going back to the beginning of our conversation, guys. So I think definitely all of us, you know, as a people, $10, $5, $1, $1 million, whatever, you know what I'm saying, you have to give, find a cause that you believe in, find something that you feel like supports your people and liberates your people, and put your money to it, because at the end of the day, when you're dead and gone, like they say, you can't take your money with you. You know what I mean? You got to leave it to someone. And it's a lot of, we have a lot of broken families to where people are not leaving money to their children, or they're not leaving money to their family. So why not, if you're not going to do that, you know what I mean, why not leave it to a good cause? So that's my 2 points to how we can do this.
Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. TT, Fatima.
Yes. So I'm not gonna say I have an exact way, but I know what we kind of should do.
Okay.
So basically, I remember when I was in we was in school, and it was this man, and he came to the school, and he was supposed to help, you know, young Black females and boys, you know, just to help us, because, you know, he said, I know that some people are struggling and things like that, but it's like every organization that I've been seeing that's supposed to be for us, it's like y'all have a underlining something that y'all want, like she said, like Kennedy said, trying to take our money and set us up. Like he was supposed to, we basically was supposed to have a sign up sheet, and we all signed up. And he said, be honest, I'm not going to tell your parents. All you got to do is pay these $20 and we good. And I promise you, I'm going to do for y'all. I'm going to help y'all. So meanwhile, it asks questions like, do you smoke? What's your parents' number? What's your whatever? I'm trying to help you. He used to tell us his stories. He was in Chicago. He used to sell when he was young. He used to sell crack cocaine, all that. And so I remember some days later, he was ringing on people's doorbell, asking them for the money, and telling the parents the kids smoked, and just basically setting them up. And I feel like that's another reason why a lot of people don't put into organizations, because it's always some underlining. It's always give me some money, and never give back. So I just feel like we should make sure that whoever wants to come and give money or wants to help, that we make them understand that this is not give me your money and go about our day. This is giving back to the community and trying to actually help.
I agree. And to that point, I think it goes, we have to meet in the middle with things like that. You know, because as a nonprofit organization, LaShondra will tell you that we battle about how do we ask for donations, you know, because we don't want to we want to tread lightly. You know, I'm thankful that what we've been able to do so far, we've been able to do that organically without donations. But it does put you in a really tough position, because you are absolutely correct. I had a conversation with a colleague of mine, and he was talking about charities, and there are over 800,000 charities in the United States. It was either 800,000 or 80,000. I got to check my math on that one. But in the United States, right? And a lot of these charities just go and file 501, and this is not to speak about the ones that are actually doing things, but I'm just gonna be real. A lot of charities go file 501(c) status, or whatever the case may be, just so they can be tax deductible, you know, and they're not really there for the community. They have these large luncheons, and they get all this money, and you know, but you don't really see them in the community actually being about it. And so then for those of us who actually are going to take those monies and direct them back into the community, then those charities or nonprofits are the ones that fall. You know, those without the corporate backing, because we should know that you do not need corporate backing in order to have a successful charity. You really don't. Yes, it helps, but you don't need that, because we already know the amount of money that, I'm just gonna say, Black dollars spend, right? And so there's a statistic that money stays in our community for only 6 hours. Our dollars stay in our community for 6 hours. White people, their money stays in there for 17 hours, and Asians, they stay there for 30 days. So there's something about that, guys, right? There's something about that. We have to start investing our money into charities who are actually giving back. Start doing research. You know, stop just looking at a face and looking at, I'm not trying, and I'm not saying this to divert away your money from other people, but also you have to, this is called financial literacy. You have to think about, where are you spending your money? Do you really need those Jordans? Or can you go to Fashion Nova and find you some really cute shoes? Because I'm not going to lie to you, I love Fashion Nova. And some of their shoes, it may not be name brand, but the shoes look good. Like, whatever happened to actually just buying something because you like the way it looks? What happened to that? Why does it have to have an expensive label on it where it was made in the same shop that this one was made in? You know, so we have to start, again, showing people how to recreate value. Like, things are only valuable because we said it was. Let's be honest. That's the only reason why anything that is valuable, because the masses say it. So if the masses start to reshape their thinking, then we can really get to a place where we are economically free. We do not, and we can do that with charities in place. We have Rose of Jericho. We know that she cares. We know that she's out here doing things and making sure that she can help liberate men. And that's one part. So we have to have organizations. That's why we have us in such a large movement, because we handle, or we are one-stop resource for all of those things. Eventually, as our website grows, we're going to feature companies or nonprofits like Rose of Jericho, so somebody can just come onto our website and say, you know what, I need some help. I need some help navigating this life of men. Let me reach out to Rose of Jericho, a place where you don't have to fear. We have to take away this feeling of fear that men have about coming out and having a conversation. We have Miracle on the line. He's been quiet the whole time. Miracle, you should talk if you feel free to talk if you want to. But we really just have to get past ourselves. Like, we are our own setback. You know, we're setting our own setback. I read this saying. I think it said something like, the greatest enemy against the oppressed is the oppressed, basically. Like the greatest, that's basically how we're able to stay there. Like, that's the greatest weapon that the oppressor uses for the oppressed, is just their state of mind. And it's really simple. I know it don't seem like it, there's so many different levels, but there is really, really simple. It's the mind. The mind. We have to help the mind get free. And we can't be afraid of the repercussions for it. That's another thing. You know, we can't be afraid of the repercussions of it. And I think a lot of times we're afraid that, you know, somebody gonna come get us if we speak out. Well, you know what? So be it. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of that.
I wanted to add something in as we like almost end. There is a movie out there. If you guys have not seen it, you need to watch. It's called The Hate That You Give. Okay. I don't know if you guys seen that movie. It's like $3.99 to rent it on Amazon Prime. I think if you have Hulu, it's on Hulu, but it's The Hate That You Give. I think everybody should watch that movie. When we were talking about, that was the point I wanted to make earlier when we were talking about movies and stuff like that. That is one of the greatest movies that can kind of just show you how you need to stand up what you stand up for what you believe in, even if it comes to death. And that is a little extreme, but that's what we have to understand as leaders of this movement on this call. You know, we're all claiming, you know what I mean, in front of thousands of people, hundreds of people, or whatever, that we are leaders on this cause. And so we have to understand that we, you know what I mean, it can come to death. It can come to the fact, because you know, they don't want this to happen. You know what I mean? So it's like we're going into war. You know what I mean? We need to cover ourselves, not only in prayer, but there's power in numbers. You know what I mean? Why is the Chinese, you know, the Chinese, what is it? Soldiers, I can't think of it right now. Army, there we go. I can't get that word out. Why is the Chinese army taking over and defeating everyone undefeated? Because they are powerful. There's a lot of them. Okay, there is power numbers. So we just have to really come together. They keep us fearful of coming together, not only spending our money together, but coming together. You know what I mean? We can't come together, because then it's the fight gonna break out. You know what I mean? We can't, you know, it's just things that, you know, they say, like, if you think you're going to fail a test and you go into the test thinking you're going to fail a test, you're going to fail. You know what I mean? So we have to just go into this understanding the repercussions and understanding that we are going to conquer this issue of mental health, and we're going to move on to the next issue, and we're going to conquer every issue that has our people oppressed to the point of liberation, and whatever that point is. You know what I mean? We have to decide that point. We have to stop allowing them to describe what is free. We don't need to use the word free anymore, because that word has been trampled down to the ground, and it has been. We need to continue to use the word liberation, being liberated, a lot more. You know what I mean? Because that's essentially what we need to do as a people.
Even honestly, crazy enough, even the term liberation, girl, it's how it fears the oppressor. When the oppressor hears you use the word liberation, they consider you like this
rebel.
Threat to global society. But it is not. It is exactly the opposite. Thinking otherwise is a threat. Thinking otherwise is a threat to global society, because, you know, I remember I posted something on our TikTok. It was actually one of our outreach events that we have coming up. We're going to be cleaning up the community over here at Metropolitan. I spoke with the owner of the corporate company. I don't want to put their name out here right now, but you can go on the page and see it. And somebody said, what type of cult is SHIT is this? So just using the word liberation, that it is associated with a cult. Why is liberation a cult? Why is it not society who is actually a part of a cult? Because if you conform to social norm, that is actually, quote, you have just associated yourself with a cult, because now your mind is being controlled by something that you don't even see. You don't even see it. I'm thinking you in the cult. I'm actually, you are in the cult that you don't even know. And the crazy, I was doing research about cults and brainwashing, and most people don't even realize that they're in a cult. Society is a cult. Yes, it is. I said it, and I will say it again. Society is a cult. It is. And liberation is what freedom is. That's what isn't the cult. Liberation through education is how you become deprogrammed, and that is how you become this is how you become free from the cult of society. Society, the cult of life. Yeah, that's the book. Society, the cult of life. Yeah. So that's my thought process on it.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
Like, yeah. Miracle, are you here? Miracle. Don't know if Miracle is here. Fatima, we're about 10 minutes out until the end. I definitely want to hear you, baby girl. You the future. You are the future, girl. I was just talking about, we need to get a group of 5. We need to get a group of 50 little boys in all 50 states. We need to put our money behind them in education on how to be leaders. and grow them into be, so we have at least all the same age, at least 50 boys who run for president. We can start grooming them now. We can start putting money into and educating them and allowing them to have a free thought. So it's not that we are controlling them or brainwashing them. We are giving them a lot of information and they can decipher through it, grow them into leaders. If we do that each year, we pick 50 boys to represent their state. By the time they grow up, we got at least 50 candidates. We talking about Democratic, Republican, all of them. Have them running in all the offices. That's the thing. When representation is there, then that is the option. Then we have options when we have the representation. So I feel that we should invest in our youth, Fatima, invest in our youth, invest in their businesses. Go on our website, you'll see the things that we have in plan. But yes, Fatima.
So I talked about. I just right now, now I have questions now.
Okay.
I feel like I've heard a lot, and I feel like this is gonna go far. I feel like this is the moment, like you said, this is the moment to take our chance, and this is the last moment we have, so we have to take it while it's here. And there is a choice you have to make, because you can't play both fits. You gotta choose one. And I really, honestly, I'm really happy to be a part of this, because first off, at school, you always tell me, why don't I be a part of an organization and stuff like that? It's because it's not, I feel like it's not real. That's another reason why I never really joined organizations or anything like that, or been a part of anything, because it's never real love. It's not never real love. And that's why I love this so much, because I know the heart that you have. I can see already from the heart that Kennedy and Lysandra have, they're in it and they want to make a difference. And I just feel like people are going to gravitate to that. It's going to be different. And all the, I remember when we were in the car and we was talking about it. And she was so happy. My sister was so happy. I just saw the smile just light up on her face. She was so happy. She came up with these wonderful ideas with the money. The way God blessed her to have, her mindset, everything, the ideas that she have, it's great ideas, because honestly, that's what they want, about the Jordans, the free Jordans. And I know how people are. I know how these boys are. I know how these girls are. They try anything to get them some Jordans. They try anything, and that's what's going to gravitate to them, because they're going to want it. And I just feel like that's one of the smartest things to do. And I'm just really excited to be a part of this. I'm really happy to be a part of it. And yeah, I definitely will be posted up telling people about it and things that.
Yeah, I'm definitely posting this up. So yeah, it's streaming live now, but does IGTV let you post things as this long?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's a minute long, I think.
Huh?
I said, I think it's only they let it be a minute long.
Okay. Well, I'm with it, girl. I love it. And yes, for the record, we are looking for donations. Not really money right now. Well, we do want money too, but really, I really want to get looking for donors to donate shoes, and preferably Jordans. These local business owners, I am looking for people to donate Jordans, so that we can get just so that we can just get people through the door. Honestly, so we can get people through the door to have these conversations, to have financial literacy conversations, to have conversations about, if you are a Black business owner. Kennedy and I, we had discussions about business etiquette classes for businesses. I actually have that as an agenda on our website. Too, Fatima's a business owner. She does hair. And so we need to have these conversations, because I believe another reason why, again, as a whole, we're unable to rise above our oppression is because we don't trust each other enough to even do business with each other. So how can we start instilling trust in one another? That means that show care. When you go open up your business in an all-Black community, the first day that you open, you need to have something for the community around you. Don't just go open, go. We know in history that doesn't work. You don't just go open up your business in a urban community and not have something to engage the community. This is how we create community. You don't just not talk to your neighbor. I probably should do better with talking to my neighbors. I just moved here. I did join neighborhood, and I've been talking to my neighbors on neighborhood. So I can't say that, but we do have to stop having these closed relationships. Our relationships should be open. We should be, again, connected with other nonprofits instead of worrying about if they gonna get more money than me. Let me tell you something. As long as you're walking in your purpose, everything that you need is gonna be provided for you. I promise you that. When you start trying to walk in somebody else's footsteps, that's when you're gonna have to step on somebody else to get ahead. As long as you are walking in your purpose, and you know that. And one thing I want to say. This is how I'm gonna stand on this. The way you can know that the source of your strength is to examine if you're doing what you feel in your heart you should actually be doing. Because a large majority of our strength, if we go back and we look at it, because we're not doing what we know we're supposed to be doing. Even if it means I'm stressed, I feel like this nagging feeling of stress because, well, I know I need to do more. I know I probably need to pick up this book and do my homework. I got homework to do. I'm stressed out because I'm constantly thinking about this boy, but I really need to pick up my homework and do my homework. And now I'm wondering why I got this feeling. I can't identify it because I'm subconsciously doing it. I can't identify why I'm feeling this way. It's because I'm putting energy where energy is not required. That's the thing. So stress is a type of energy. So where are we putting our energy that is causing this nagging feeling of depression, this nagging feeling of stress? I know me, every time I know I'm supposed to be on my computer doing my schoolwork because I'm in school or doing my project for work, and I decide to sit down and watch TV, and I just got this feeling, this uneasy feeling it's because I need to get my butt up and do what I'm supposed to do. That's it. Again, being emotionally aware. So that's what I want to leave off with, is that a way to healing and rising out of your oppression is become emotionally aware. Just continuously work on being emotionally aware of self and your triggers, finding out what's triggering you. And then that'll help you have better conversations. If you do need to go then talk to a counselor, at least you know what to talk to the counselor about. Some people, their first counseling session, they just really sit there because they sit there trying to figure out, well, what the hell is wrong with me? That's right. What is wrong with me? Have I even ever thought about it? So those are things that I just think that we should focus on in terms of self, because I believe personally that healing is something that does have to start inside of you. And I only say that because that's how it helped me heal. So I can't speak for anyone else and how they were able to heal. But for me, it was examining myself, because honestly and truthfully, like when you're taking, like I used to be nervous when I used to take tests, but then I realized if I didn't pass it, it just means that it was something more than I needed to learn. That's it. So when I take it again, I don't know how many people took a test twice and didn't get the same questions wrong that you got before wrong again, because it's something about a test. Anytime we use tests in any other circumstance, we understand the psychology behind it. But when it comes to ourselves, we don't examine the psychology behind it. So a test is simply, failing isn't actually failure. It's, oh well, I didn't master what was expected for me to master. Right? Doesn't mean that you should, but it's the expectation. That's another thing. We have to separate expectation from where you actually should be, because somebody's expectation of you doesn't necessarily mean this is where you should be. Otherwise, you would have passed that test. That's it. Unrealistic expectations for where you are. So we should start setting realistic expectations and letting those things that we have not achieved be goals that we can reach for. But that's my thing. Anybody else want to close off? It's 9:30. I'm going to be quiet for the rest of the night. I think that I have said a lot. I probably don't even know what I said until I watch this recording, girl, because I don't know. But I'm gonna just be quiet and let everybody say what they're gonna say, and then we can kumbaya into our night.
Well, I just say once again, it was an honor to be a part of this conversation. I look forward to many, many more, not only conversations, but projects, just different things with all of you ladies to get this handle and get our point across. I'm super duper excited for everything for the future. I'm praying for our future. And I'm happy. You know what I mean? I haven't been you as a woman, you go through so much stuff, you know what I mean, with men and having kids and all of that, but you forget about the little things in life. And it's like the little things in life, one of the things that I consider as the little things in life is having friends. And that's one thing, you know what I mean, that society kind of shows, like, you don't need nobody, you know what I mean? And that's one thing, that's another barrier that I feel like we're breaking right now. You know what I mean? We're coming together as friends, as women. We've told the world and everybody that's watching our different connections, you know what I mean? And it's just, I'm getting chills talking about it, because it's just a really good thing that we're doing here. So it's an honor, ladies, and you guys have a good night. I'm still on, but whenever we convene, you guys have a good night.
Thank you. And it's an honor, honestly, to have you here, Kennedy, because so much of what you said resonated even with me. And it just goes to show us that we've never stopped learning. Like I used to be guilty of being a know-it-all. I'm gonna be honest. And I still battle with that, honestly and truthfully. I still battle with that. That's something that I actively work on a day-to-day basis, of not being a know-it-all. And it's just so beautiful. And these moments right here are humbling moments, because I learned so much about things and just ideas and people that I did not learn, that I'm going to be able to take. That's why this is so valuable, because what this conversation does is it isn't stopping at a conversation, because there's so many things that we already have on the plan going forward. And then, it's just beautiful, because how far is this conversation going to go beyond today? Because how many people are we going to take this and give to? How many ideas is this going to create for us within the things that we're doing? I mean, I can already, just in this conversation, think about this. What I'm going to do. Oh, we got to do this. We got to do this. Oh. Yeah, there's so many things. It's like, but just the motivation that we needed. That's why it's important that we keep having this conversation, so we can constantly be. Because sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, it's easy to lose momentum. It is. It is so easy to lose momentum when you believe so much of what you're talking about and nobody else believes in it. And it can really put you in a place. That's why it's so important. My last thing is to be careful who you keep around you. When you are a person who has ideas and dreams, be careful who you keep around you, because a dream killer will not kill just your dream, it will kill you. Okay? Be careful. I don't know how other ways to express this. Be careful who you allow to deposit any energy into your spirit. And be careful who you keep around you as you're trying to grow into the vision that you've seen. Because a dream killer, again, will not just kill your dreams. A dream killer will kill you. So, again, just be careful. And yes, Latisha.
Okay, so I'm not really feeling well, but I do have to say one thing. I want to say, have you checked on your mental health lately? Have you checked on your mental health lately? And, I know that somebody always told me that, but of course I always never listen. I never listen to anything. So I want to ask everyone out there, have they checked on their mental health? Are you okay? Are you sure that you're okay? And you don't have to tell me, you don't have to tell us. You can go talk to someone. Or if you want to talk to yourself, or if you want to journal. All that's acceptable ways of dealing with your mental health. But don't let it get to a point where you're in dire need. Everybody has problems. Everybody has issues. Everybody doesn't cope the same. Everybody's not coping the same at all. Just because you see this person cope that way and you go through the similar experience and you don't cope that way, that's what makes you different. That's what makes you human. So definitely check on your mental health.
It's not normal to be mean. I'm gonna be honest. It's not normal to be mean to people. If you're a person who, and I'm gonna tell you one other thing. It's not normal to all you want to do is read gossip blogs. I'll be honest. Let me just put that out there. It's not normal for you to only want to read about the shady things that are going on. It's not normal. Like, can we please help society understand that is not normal? It is not normal to want to watch gossip thing, everything that's gossip. That's not normal. That in itself is a sign that you have some mental health issues, that you need to talk to someone about it, because it is not normal to spur hate. It's not normal to have something negative to say about anything you see.
Every time you look around.
I was watching a little girl on Facebook. She was running, and she was running. I think they said it was like 17 miles per hour, and she happened to be a woman, African American young girl, maybe of mixed race. And there were adults who were commenting, "Oh well, I used to run 20 miles." Why is that? That's not normal. It's not normal for you to have to top up someone else's achievements. That's not normal. That's
right.
normal.
This is another thing I wanted to say about mental health, and I'm very advocate about mental health because I am a mental health patient. Like I am. Another thing I wanted to say about, you have to check on your mental health. Yes, you can pray.
Yeah.
Yes, you can pray, and prayer sometimes. I mean, some people have the miracles and some people don't. Not saying, because I believe in God too, but I had got myself so deep into a hole where I wasn't listening to God. I couldn't even hear people talking.
Yeah.
I couldn't even hear people talking and what they had to say. I don't know what they were saying. All I know how I felt, and all the thing I could think about is my negative thoughts. Yeah. How I'm worthless, how I'm this and how I'm that. Yeah. So you have to really reach out. When you need help, reach out. Yeah. It's okay to pray, but pray yourself into the hospital too.
There you go. I like that. Pray yourself into the hospital, okay? That's why he gave, man.
Pray while you sit in the waiting room. That's what we're gonna do. Because yes, prayer works. Prayer works. Histolic stuff works. But also God put doctors here for a reason.
Yeah.
Then they specialize in getting you their help. And there ain't nothing wrong in that. And you try to say you're a faithful servant, because I know a lot of church people, and I grew up in the church. I'm a faithful servant, and God always answers my prayers, but he's not talking to me now. And you definitely need to reach out and talk to someone.
Absolutely.
You can actually, it's okay to pray and take medicine. Because at one point I didn't want to take medicine either. But guess what? It done me a whole lot of way more than I can do myself, I see.
Yeah.
And some people's situation isn't as bad. That's why they don't have to do all that.
That's true.
But some people don't understand they're spiraling out of control.
Yeah. I didn't know, honestly, Chandra, when I was depressed, I didn't realize I was depressed until after I wasn't, because it's okay, girl. It's okay, girl, because that's what you back. Yes, we are too powerful, and we don't have to just leave because it's not 30. I know at least at 10 I'm gonna leave because my daughter is over there. But I will just say that in my worst state of depression, I didn't know that. I just knew that I was hurting.
Right.
I knew that I cried so much, and that the feeling that I had was so strong, and I had a child, and I know that in general I was a good person, but I know that I was a bully when I was growing up, and then I started saying, well, was it because I was a bully when I was in elementary school while I'm going through this?
It's not no particular reason.
So many questions that I had. It was like I was saying, God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Father. And then I realized that it wasn't him who was punishing me. It was myself because
Right.
I refused to trust what I didn't see instead of trusting what I know. Sometimes we get so used to surviving that we just feel like life is just about surviving. And life is not just about surviving. Life is about living. And living with depression without help, you're only surviving. And a lot of people, just like Chandra said, it looks like they're doing well because they have mastered the art of surviving.
And covering up. It looks like you're doing well because you got a smile on your face, but in your thoughts, in your head, you're not well. You're not okay.
And it's not okay. And this is the thing. Like, and the next time I have these conversations, I'm not trying to get into people's business, but I understand how important it is to talk. It's okay to talk to people. It's okay to, because let me tell you something. I don't give a dang on what anyone says about me because that's why I have been off social media for so long. Because it took me 5 years to be strong enough with myself to not care about when I start this. People are gonna hate. People are gonna say all type of things. People are gonna try to throw dirt on my name. People will try to just ruin what Yahweh built. But let me tell you something. There's nothing that man can do can destroy what Yahweh built. Everything is in his plan. So I understand that we have to not care about what people think. I don't care if people hear about things that happen to me. I don't care about if people hear about molestation. I don't care if people hear about me being raped. I don't care about having those conversations. I'm not afraid of those conversations because these are things that other people have experienced in their lives. And when people can stop hiding behind their situation, I mean, life will be so much.
It will be amazing. And then for another thing, the last what I have to say, because I've been quiet for a minute, but the last what I have to say is, actually, in actuality, it was I didn't know it. To be honest, when I was in my deep, dark place, in my hole, I call it a hole, because that's what I felt like. I didn't know that I was loved. I didn't care if I was loved. I didn't love myself. I didn't care if I ate. I couldn't even eat. I couldn't even swallow food. That's how bad. I was praying, but I was like, God not answering me. God not listening to me. I'm down talking him. I'm down talking myself too. So I'm down talking him. Yeah. If I don't care about myself, what you think I'm gonna care about God for? To be honest.
That's honest.
To be honest, if I'm not caring about myself, I'm not gonna care about God too. Let's be honest. Yeah. And at the same time, I didn't know people care. I thought everybody around me just hate me or want to use me or want something from me. That's how I felt. And I don't got nothing to give no more. I'm tired of giving. I'm tired of trying to be nice. Everybody always try to say, oh, she has an attitude. She got this. But they don't look at the way they treat me. They get me in that place. You get what I'm saying? So I felt like I was misunderstood a lot. And it took me to even go through that to even come out better, because I'm better than what I've been in the past. I used to flip out. I used to be a mess. But we all have been a mess, and we just grow from there. If you're not growing, what are you doing? If you're not growing, what are you doing?
Running your mouth.
What are you doing? Are you living? Because when you live, you're supposed to be growing.
Yeah.
So if you're just the same person you was 20 years ago to 10 years ago, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. You're gonna learn stuff to the day you die. Yeah. That's gonna help you grow. Yeah. And if you're not doing that, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all I got to say.
Well, I love it. I love it. I love it. Kennedy, honey. I keep calling you Kennedy, honey. I told you when I first met you, I love that name, Kennedy. I just think that name is such a beautiful name. And I think honey is too, because I need to go get me some honey right now, because I'm going through it right now, honey. So, I am definitely under the weather, but let me tell you something. There was nothing that the enemy could do that can stop this moment, no matter what. Because trust me, he has tried some things, but we have been able to rise above it and put what's important in front of ourselves. And so I'm so very grateful and thankful for Roses of Jericho. founder, Kennedy, and so thankful for her grandmother, who in her short time speaking with us has been an inspiration to me to see that, you know, yes, you could be a single mother, and yes, you could have not made the right choices in the beginning, and yes, you can redeem yourself through action. Yes, you can go to school and have a baby and still be a single mother, and put good energy and break the generational curses. Even though you're a grown adult, it's never too late to break your generational curses. So I am so thankful for everyone who's joined, LaShondra who's joined and been so candid about what you're facing, or what you know your own mental health we call it uphill battle. You know, it's not a downhill battle; it's an uphill battle, because you are beating that monster. And as long as you got me as a friend, you gonna keep on. We're gonna be each other's strength through our weakness, because we have us. We have us. We have us. And one day we're gonna see this on shirts. We're gonna see roses of Jericho. We're gonna see these beautiful roses. You know, I'm just gonna speak these things into existence, not for our own glory, but for the liberation of our people, for the liberation of the oppressed, because it's only when the oppressed are liberated will we live in a world that is truly designed by the Most High. It is only then where we will actually be able to live heaven on earth, when we liberate the oppressed through education, when we give everybody and the tools that they need to navigate the society. And when we start having open conversations and start having open responses to things that we're going, and have solutions. Like, we just have to get past conversations. Conversations are amazing. It's the first step, but we're going to keep on making steps. And again, I'm thankful for everyone who's going to listen to this today, tomorrow, whenever this is heard, you know, whatever. For my daughter who may see this at, 5 years from now, hey baby, I love you. I told you that we was gonna be where we are today, because I already know where I'm gonna be in 5 years. Yes, again, reach out to Kennedy, Honey, if you could please just give everybody their information so they can reach out to you, and how they can get in contact with you, and how future partners can get in contact with you, etc.
Yes, guys. So I have we have a Facebook page at Roses of Jericho. And then we also have an Instagram page that is at ROJ Atlanta. And then so that's how you can contact us. You can DM us or instant message us, whatever, about how you can get involved. If you have any questions about our organization or anything we have going on right now, those messages come directly to myself and my co-executive director. So that's how you can get in contact with Roses of Jericho.
Okay, and then lastly, what type of things do you have that you're looking for people to get involved with in the future? Like any events that you have coming up, any type of outreach that you're wanting to do, and you're just looking for people to come support. What do you have in the timeline in the near future, or maybe even far future, that people can?
So as of right now, we have a survey on our Instagram that's just kind of like a mental health survey, just to kind of check where you're at check where you're at mentally, check your understanding of mental health. So that's why I feel like the conversation starts with any person, just understanding what mental health actually is. So we have a survey like that on our Instagram. And then we also have like our emails open for like, not necessarily counseling services, but referral services to counselors right now, because Roses of Jericho we don't have our own counselor right now, but we do have some future things in the works as far as getting our own counselor to help our people. And then also, we have like a fundraiser coming up. It's a toiletry drive. And it's something that, not even coming up, but that's something that we're looking to do in the future, where people would come and they would donate socks, unused, like out of the store, socks, t-shirts, and like underwear for men, because we just give that out as our organization to men that just don't have that. So people will come and do those donations, and then we'll raffle off a prize, just for, you know, if you do a donation, then you put your name in a bucket, and then we'll pull out the raffle, something like that. We don't have it all organized yet, but that's like the next kind of big thing that we want to do. And we would love to partner with any other organization, because Roses of Jericho is very, very small. Like even my personal like Instagram and Facebook, I don't have a lot of people other than family. So the best thing that people can do for Roses of Jericho right now is share our pages, share our Instagram, share our Facebook. So and follow us. Not only share us, but follow us, so they can stay in tune with anything we're doing. And anything that you do in your personal life that you think may be helpful to the men that are in our organization, please reach out, because there are a lot of people out here who, you know, are financial advisors and, you know, different things like that. So yeah, that's how we can get Rose Jericho out there.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I hope everyone was able to get that information from Honiey. And just for everyone else to know what We Have Us has in alignment. We have a community outreach event that is going to be happening on the 13th. That is this Saturday coming up. Just pray to the Most High that I feel better by then. I'm really pushing through right now. I don't know if it seems like it, but I'm really pushing through. But on the 13th, we have a community outreach event. We are going to be cleaning Metropolitan Parkway. For those of you who live in Atlanta, y'all, if you know about Metropolitan, you know it's pretty dirty. So we're going to be going out there. Our initiative is a Clean Atlanta outreach. We want to keep Atlanta clean, keep it an attractive place. You know, again, not relying on, government organizations to keep it clean, because I do believe at some point they do try, but when you constantly are trying to take care of something that other people don't take care of, it's really hard. So we want to, we're actually going to be going out and cleaning up Metropolitan. We're going to be talking to people as they're walking by about the importance of keeping your community clean. About it's not just the government's responsibility to come out and clean up. It is our own responsibility to make sure that we are keeping it clean. So if you see me cleaning up, don't go drop something else on the floor. Like, why? Like, you don't have to. And maybe we should talk about even having just trash cans on the sidewalk every block. You know what I'm saying? So people don't feel the need to drop the trash on the floor. You know, like there should be trash cans around, like, because we have to keep our areas clean too. You know, so I want Atlanta to be a place where my child can grow up. I don't want her to feel like we have to move out of our community to be living the good life. That's specifically and primarily why I purchased a home in the Atlanta area. So I know that my tax dollars are going into my community. And in our next conversation, I am going to talk about just keeping yourself aware of your rights as an individual, especially if you're a Black individual or African individual who is trying to purchase a home. I myself have been what I consider a target of discrimination in my home buying process. And there have been coercions. They have coerced other people to reach out to me to ask me not to talk about this. No, I will not stay quiet. There's something that I put up on TV, that I put up on the thing. I didn't even know about it in Atlanta in general. There has been investigations in the past about the home buying market and about how it's easier for a low-income white person to get a home or be granted a loan than it is for an African American who's middle class. And so I had to fight very hard in order to get this home, but I met all of the qualifications to do so. But I did not lay down. So if you are, or if you do feel that you have been a victim of some type of discrimination, whether it be racially, whether it be because of your ethnicity, or I think that's the same thing, your religion, your national origin. Mine, I believe, is because of my national origin. You can just tell Shiona as a DK, that ain't American. So, and it dang sure ain't of any other race other than probably Africa, okay? So that is what I believe was the source of my own discrimination. And like I said, I will not lay down. I have pursued justice behind that, and I will not stop until justice is served because, you know, and no, I will be the voice. They did not know who they were doing that to. See, this is why it's important for businesses to understand who you're doing things to, because not every person is just happy because they got the house. No, I'm not just happy because I got the house. I am going to stand up for all of those individuals who suffer, who meet the qualifications and still are not provided the same opportunity. And when there are people who have the power, who choose to play God in situations instead of allowing someone to get to walk into the same blessing that your family and your ancestors were able to walk into. But please know that I had someone else on my side. So your tactic didn't work. And hopefully very soon when all of this is over, we'll make sure we know what company I'm talking about, so that other people like me know not to pursue purchasing or securing a loan through that. That's just what I wanted to say. But nonetheless, I again am happy everybody was here. You know, please reach out to us. You can visit us at www.wehave-us.com. That's www.wehave-us.com. You can also reach us by email at info@wehave-us.com. You can also reach us on Facebook. We have Us Corp. Instagram, we have Us _Corp. TikTok, we have Us _Corp. We have Us _Corp. Where else? YouTube, we have Us as our YouTube channel. We also, like I said, have a forum and group chat capabilities on our website. So feel free to join as a member and you know, continue this conversation there, and we can together pick a next topic. So again, thank you everybody so much for joining and taking your time out to do this, because you did not have to do this. Honestly, no one here had to do this. And I'm so thankful for every single one of you. And I hope everyone has a blessed night. And anyone who's under the weather right now, I pray for you. I plead the blood of Yahshua over everyone who is here. For those who don't know, I call Jesus Yahshua. So that is who I'm referring to when I'm saying the name Yahshua. So I plead the blood of Yahshua over everyone who's over here, anyone who is being faced. I cancel the evil plan of the enemy against everyone everyone who is listening to this. And I just pray for peace and blessings as you go through your day. And may his light be your guide. That's all. Love y'all. Air hugs. Air hugs.
Love y'all too.
Love you. Okay, toodles.
See you later.